What's up, everyone? Usually Spencer
everybody.
says, "Hey, everyone," but Justin.
Oh yeah, that's right. I guess that's my
Justin's
responsibility.
responsibility now.
All right, that's my bad. Hey everybody, welcome to the ABCs of RPGs. I am your storyteller now, and you're all in trouble. We're kicking off. Happy spooky season to everybody watching. We're very happy you're joining us, and if you're watching this later on YouTube, thanks for clicking on. We're very grateful. In keeping with spooky season, we're playing a spooky RPG, and this one is more in the realm of the strangers and less in the realm of Casper. We're playing a game called Werewolf, the Apocalypse. We're going to be playing the 5th edition, celebrating Renegade Games' acquisition of the intellectual property and any of the changes that they've made in that game. Although, for those of you who are watching who have played older versions, not a whole lot's changed. They've updated some things. We're real happy. We'll see what they've changed, and you'll follow along with us as we play. To get started, we're going to be going with our Section 0 rules, which you can find on page 203 of the Player's Handbook. Oh, wait. And I'm going to introduce the rest of my team. Everybody, introduce yourselves.
I'll introduce myself first. Hello, my name's Dalton. I don't have a whole lot of exposure to kind of like this IP or like the World of Darkness or anything. I think I watched like one actual play of someone play Hunter the Reckoning like a few years ago, and that's kind of about it. So I'm excited. I read through a lot of the book. I liked a lot of the vibes. I liked the kind of like gothic punk description of things that they gave. That was very cool. And I'm excited. Dan, why don't you go next?
What's up, everyone? I'm Dan. Like Dalton, I am very new to as well, but reading a lot of the backstory, the lore, pretty excited. I think it's really interesting and fun for me to be here playing with Justin as our DM. I love having Justin as much as I love having Spencer as the DM. Justin was my first DM ever, my freshman year of college. So, having him as it's a unique experience whenever he's playing God. So, buckle in for a wacky and zany adventure. And how about we have Spencer go next?
Yeah.
Spencer, go next.
Hey everybody, I'm a player this time. Look at this. Going back, I think I've mentioned this on stream before, but Justin, I'm so excited to have you be our game master because continuing off what Dan said, yeah, like I've always viewed you. We played a lot of 5th edition together and stuff like that, but I've always viewed you as the Gandalf to my Frodo. Like you're this like fountain and source of knowledge of all this like cool older tabletop role-playing experiences, and I really value that. And so yeah, and I've always thought you've had a creative mind, so I'm excited to get going. But with Werewolf, so I'm not sure if I fully introduced myself. I'm Spencer. My pronouns are he, him. My YouTube channel is down below if you want to follow me. But more importantly, my knowledge of Werewolf is kind of limited too. I've never played a World of Darkness game. I've definitely heard of Vampire the Masquerade and Werewolf the Apocalypse. I've actually played one of the most recent visual novels for Werewolf. I think Ashley has too. And that's really about it. So I was limited knowledge before going into this, but I will say I've watched the first 4 movies of the Underworld series. So I feel like I'm prepared.
First 4?
Yeah,
there were more than 4?
I think so. Yes, because there's Underworld Evolution, Underworld Rise of the Lycans. Oh no, I've only seen the first 3. My bad, because then it's Underworld Awakening. Haven't seen that. Underworld Blood Wars. Haven't seen that. And a short film called Underworld Endless War.
Okay. Well, I mean, Steve Beckinsale needs to eat too, so.
Yeah. But anyways, and last but not least, Ashley.
Hi, everyone. My name is Ashley. I use she, her pronouns. I am super excited. I think everyone's excited, but I was definitely one of the ones who was really pushing to play this game. So I'm super excited to play. My main exposure to it is, like Spencer said, I did play the visual novel that came out within the past 2 or 3 years, I want to say, Werewolf the Apocalypse, as a visual novel. And it was good, and I really liked the lore that was associated with it.
Heart of the
I
Forest.
felt like, what?
It's Heart of the Forest. Sorry, it's Werewolf the Apocalypse. Heart of the Forest is the visual novel.
So it's I felt like its scope of kind of the game and the mechanics as a visual novel was really limited. So that's why I'm super excited to play it as a tabletop role playing game. I already have a lot of ideas for my character, and I'm really pumped to mess some shit up as a wolfy person. So yeah, back to Justin.
Yes. So Dan described this as a wacky, zany adventure. I think ennui laced, blood-soaked nightmare is probably a better way to describe the world of darkness. It is a world very much so like our own, full of strife and pain and random terror. That being said, I'd really like to warn our audience, especially those of you who have experienced things in your life that are unpleasant and may be triggered by instances of extreme violence. Let's see, Spencer, you went through the litany the other day.
I do. Yes.
Go for it. Lead us through. Give us the trigger warnings.
You can find this on page 13. Werewolf the Apocalypse does issue a mature content warning because it does tackle mature circumstances. So Werewolf the Apocalypse may include in-world references and expressions of the following: child harm, substance abuse, sexual violence, mental illness, pandemics, political extremism, physical violence and gore, mind control, torture, abuse, imprisonment and kidnapping, racism, sexism, homophobia, and spiders, to name a few. It's a game about monsters and the cruel things those monsters do to people. But it's also a game about people who may have to endure circumstances caused by others' actions and who do so with incomplete knowledge. So, yeah.
Or basically what you'd see on the news on a Tuesday.
Yeah.
Kind of, especially lately. Bad. All right. Well, and later on in the stream, we're going to be listing some crisis hotlines in case anybody watching this needs to talk to somebody. Please treat yourselves with love.
Yeah.
That being said, let's get into the violence. Although we're not going to get right into the violence just yet. One of the great things about this game is it gives you a lot of guidance on how to set up your game. And I know that my players have a lot of questions for me. We had a few before we started the stream, and we're going to be sharing a lot of those with you now. I told them to hold a lot of their questions. I thought if they had questions, you'd have these questions for your storyteller, which is what they call the GM, DM, whatever you want to call it. Lore keeper.
God.
Storyteller. And the reason the White Wolf, not White Wolf anymore, Renegade, the World of Darkness uses the term storyteller, is that this game is very heavily story-based. You know, it is much less of the hack and slash that people may be used to, or lots of new mechanics that people have never seen before. For those of you who are unfamiliar, I think the Underworld series, as Spencer mentioned, is a great way to set the tone for your players. Maybe you guys, or you all, whoever's playing, can have a movie night to kind of establish the lore. You know, Terry Crews is in the first one, so you know it can't be all bad. I think Terry Crews is in it.
It's been so long since I've seen them, but now I kind of want to have a rewatch.
Now I want Terry Crews to be in it. New casting. We're going to remake the movie. Reboot
it.
Terry Crews. Actually, just the whole cast of Brooklyn Nine-Nine. That's
Just,
it.
I would love that. Let's bring everybody in.
Andy Samberg.
Okay,
Andy
would Andy
Samberg.
Samberg be a
Stephanie
vampire or a
No,
werewolf?
he'd be the main character. He'd be like, oh no!
Oh, he's a human just in this world?
Which,
I love it.
Andy, if you ever see this, we love you. We think you're
Oh,
great.
yeah.
We're just having fun here. But please don't sue me. No. Yeah, this is but that's a great way to set it up. Gothic punk is a great way to describe that. You know, it is dark. The buildings are tall, looming. Also in this, in my world, modernism and brutalism never happened as architectural elements. Well, brutalism happened, but modernism didn't. So much of the designs are much more Gothic inspired. The buildings are much more Gothic inspired. Not just the financial districts are the only one where you'll see that glass and steel brutalistic elements. For those of you who are architecture nerds, anywho, Section 0 is a good time to set expectations and outline things you do not want to see, like the child thing. Probably gonna see very little of that this game. I'll be mad if you just start killing children, guys. I'll be kind of mad.
I don't plan on it.
Rats. There go my plans.
Well,
man.
I'm out.
Cancel the session now.
Wrap it up. Yeah, but any other sorts of issues that you really want to see or see sparingly, well, this is the time to do that.
Are we using lines and veils at all in this game?
In what way?
Sure. Yeah. So I know a common GM technique is what's called lines and veils, which are lines are things that we just don't address or it never gets there. So like, for example, like you're saying with, I believe child abuse, like that's like a line. We don't go past that line. We don't go to child murder. But something that could be a veil is like, for example, I'll say kind of like my limitations. One of the things I would say is that when it comes to sexual violence, that's not I'm okay with it happening in the game, but it's not something I necessarily want to witness. So I like to have a veil for that. So if any sexual violence were to happen, a veil goes over and we resume back to the game after the event has occurred. So that's kind of like what that means. Whereas a line is like, okay, no child murder in this game. We do not do that. But a veil would be like, okay, that can happen, but we're not going to sit here and take 5 minutes to describe it. Like that's kind of we
definitely have a veil on sexual violence.
Yeah.
I would say probably it's kind of probably going to be more like a line.
Okay.
Fine. It's a line.
Yeah.
That's why
I can't promise. I haven't read through the every line of the thing, so I can't promise what the creators have put in store. But if I see that,
well, no, right.
I think
I mean, to our best, I think we,
Mm-hmm.
I'm okay with that line too. Does anybody else have any hard lines? I like the hard line. I like the hard lines of anything involving a child.
Yeah.
And sexual violence being hard.
Yeah. And something that's always good too is that I like to think that we're all pretty comfortable with each other here, and we're pretty open about what we're comfortable and not comfortable with. But especially when playing in like a new a session with like people who you're not entirely familiar with, oftentimes it's good for the GM to say like, hey, feel free to also reach out to me outside of the game, either by text, email, or anything like that, about any of the things you don't want to bring up in person, but still would not be comfortable with. And that's always something to kind of open that route of communication. So like, for example, if I was like, oh, I also don't, really like spiders, or like I had a very bad phobia of spiders, but I was a little bit afraid to bring up with everybody. A good thing for Justin to say, for me to do, is to message him on Discord, because that's how we communicate. Or it could be, even if the GM doesn't say it, it's always good to just reach out to your GM and be like, hey, this is something I'm not really comfortable with. Is that okay that we not include it? So
yeah. And for people watching, and not just here in the World of Darkness, but in any game, if you're uncomfortable, talk to your GM, address it immediately. Always do it in a calm, respectful manner, of course, but talk to your GM. If your GM is not cool about it, that's a bigger problem, and that's going to be something that you're going to have to handle on your own, my dear friends and viewers.
Or maybe not a game you want to be a part of.
In DM culture, we consider this a deuce move.
When somebody comes to you and says, I'm not comfortable with this, and you say, fuck you, that's not cool.
Yeah, in DM culture, that is considered a deuce move.
Yeah.
I did have one that I had as well. It's very, very specific, I guess. But as far as for specific depictions of mental illness, and in particular people who have very severe mental illnesses like psychoses, schizophrenia, bipolar, that kind of thing, I'm okay with it being present in the story. I would just prefer that those people are just like, as if they are characters, like just treated with like respect and
dignity and respect,
become, like, villainized or like a part of like a butt of a joke, I guess. It's just that's the boundary I have for that.
I think that's a more than acceptable boundary to have. I like that boundary too. You never know somebody's story, and you never know how they got on the street.
Yeah.
Because let's be real. Statistically speaking, the average American is 3 paychecks a week.
Yeah.
So be kind.
Statistically speaking, like, a lot of people who are homeless deal with very severe mental health issues, and were not able to get adequate help.
Oh, yes.
Because the system failed them. But that's a whole other...
That's a whole other thing, except it's not, because it's something that's going to be in this game. I mean, it depends. We'll get to this, but yeah. In real life, people treat people with respect. But yeah, when we talk about the unhoused folks that will appear in this game, yes, we are not going to be being disrespectful to their humanity.
Yeah.
Great.
I also don't want to see that from you guys. I'm not worried about it. But let's just try and be mindful. Again, not really something I was worried about, but something that I would feel like I want to say. Just to have it here on the stream.
Other thing that I remembered, in a different game where I brought up, it was a new set of players, and I told them about Lines and Veils. One of the things that they brought up was like animal abuse, and that was something I never really thought about before. But that was one of the things they're like, "Hey, we don't want to have that in the game," which is perfectly fine, because I mean, especially in a game of Werewolf, I feel like that can kind of come up, especially when you're in like wolf form or seeing other wolves or something like that. So. Yeah, but I'm not saying that's one of mine. I'm just saying that could be a common thing in Werewolf as well, is that you're going to be in an animal form. You're going to be talking to other animals. Actually, I'm not sure. I don't know if you talk to animals, but like that's a
if there is something like that, guys, or particularly brutal elements. I do not want to describe the brutal murder of a person. That is taxing on me.
Yeah.
So we're probably going to have a lot of veils. And it'll be a situational element, but I am not going to describe the brutal beating to death of an animal.
Yeah.
We might just, it would be something like, then you guys watch this person just beat this thing to death.
Yeah.
And we're just going to move past that.
Yeah.
And we'll go on with the story. I do not, I'm a storyteller, but I do not have any interest in having a Chuck Palahniuk level of detail to my violence.
Mm-hmm.
Not that he's not a great author. I fantastic author. Chuck, if you ever see this, I love you, buddy. You're great. Write more. But yeah, he's a very detailed writer, which is amazing for his novels. But it's not something, especially when we're kind of time constrained here, is something I really feel like I need to go into the very gory details, quite literally. And then of course, spiders. Dan, I know you don't like them. We might just call them creepy crawlies.
I mean, that's. You don't have to call them creepy crawlies. Like, you can call them spiders. Like, that's fine. It's like getting really descriptive with them. Like,
no,
like
if there's a giant umbral spider, it will be described as a giant umbral spider.
Thank you.
And I'll take every spider that wants to get on you. I'll grab them and put them on me instead. So
perfect. I don't want to spend too much time on the personal boundaries part of Section 0. So does anybody have anything concrete that they would like to address with boundaries of Ale?
Nope, I've already talked about mine.
Perfect. Anybody else?
Nope.
Going once, twice. Cool. Cool. So the next thing I'd like to do is, you guys don't, maybe our viewers don't really know. So Werewolf is a bit of an abstract sort of universe. It is the writers of this very cleverly borrowed from lots of world stories. So at the beginning of time, three forces existed in harmony: the Weaver, the Worm, and the Wild. And these forces represent three very kind of core elements to the language of the universe itself. And you can see it in everything. It is these three forces represent, if I can use the phrase, the natural order. The Weaver represents construction, birth, building, establishment. The Wild represents the. Am I wrong about this? Hold on.
No, you got it. The Weaver, yeah. Order, structure, and stasis is the Weaver, and then Wild is. I was looking on page 15. I was in the lexicon.
Oh, perfect. Yes, and it's in page 15. If you ever forget while you're DMing a session. So the Wild represents. The Wild represents creation. Weaver represents the establishment order, and the Worm represents the destruction, entropy. Things come into being, things change. Then they find an order, they find their place in the system, and then the system itself breaks down and begins anew. Wild, Weaver, Worm. The problem is, at some point, man came into being. And, I always thought it was really kind of a cool, the interesting thing about man, human, I should say, humankind, is that we are capable of all three. We can create out of nothing. We can bring order and structure to new creations, change them, organize them. And we're also, as we are all painfully aware, capable of horrific destruction. And Gaia, the Earth Spirit, saw fit to create creatures spirits embedded in her children, both wild and human, to help keep the order, to keep the weaver in check, to keep the wild in check, to keep the worm in check. The Gauru, the werewolves, were her chosen children. First among the shape changes. And her soldiers in charge of keeping the order and destroying aberrations. Culling huge populations that threaten forests. Whether that was human or, insect or rodent or whatever. Now, the worm, the weaver, and the wild exist not in the physical realm, but a realm called the Umbra, spirit wild. Umbra comes from a Latin word meaning shadow. The world beyond the veil, if you will. Where the spirit, wolf, falcon, dragon, live, trees, alive. Forest, it may be the whole forest is one being. All of this is very abstract. Yeah, thunder exists as a thing itself. Anger, emotions exist as beings. So it takes on a very animistic point of view. And for those of you who practice more monotheistic religions and find this strange, it's just a game. At some point, though, the wolves, the Gauru, thought themselves kings, second to Gaia, and stepped beyond their place as balance keepers and became soldiers, police, and began to abuse Gaia's creation. At one point, there was a period in Gauru history called the Imperium. It was a time of rampant bloodshed. Gauru slaughtered other shapeshifters for disobeying them as they felt they knew Gaia's will best, and they were Gaia's will. They slaughtered humans for sport instead of balance. And at some point along that line, humans became slightly more organized, much more organized. You could kind of maybe think of it at the time of the establishment of written history, maybe slightly before written history, where humans discovered the power of silver. Silver, of course, one of the few things that is true about Gauru compared to werewolves in popular culture. Silver is absolutely one of the few things that can seriously harm a Gauru or any shape-shifting being who claims the moon as their sister. There are some shapeshifters who claim the sun is their brother. We're not dealing with that. That is very death. Horror stories Gauru tell their younglings to help them act ethically. But at some point, humans discovered silver and became organized and led an assault against the Gauru. this um, after an unknown era of bloodshed, the Garou decided to step back into the shadows and let humans forget about it. However, traces of this remain in our system as humans. It is the feeling we get in the forest at night, that feeling of unease, that feeling of being alive, the apprehensiveness of an unknown danger lurking in the shadows. And is the reason why humans experience something called delirium when they see a werewolf in its fury, which is an uncontrollable fear, causing a human to run or simply go insane. Or just rationalize that it wasn't there. They dreamed it. Now, there are a lot of themes going on in this that carry through to the Garou and their different tribes. Themes of alienation. The Garou being beings of both the physical and spiritual, unfortunately belong in neither and are never truly accepted by either. Even wolves are terrified of Garou. Indications of Garou may be mines that had to shut down due to unexplainable accidents. Territories of forest where a lone wolf is killing hunters, blah, blah, blah. That sort of thing. As human society grew, cities, towns grew, so did the power of the Weaver. But as our cities grew and as we began to grow unchecked, so did our appetites for conquest and our greed, our shamelessness. And our appetite for destruction corrupted the worm, leading it to corrupt the Weaver. And the Weaver and the worm, again, and humans, are not evil or inherently so anything, really, but the sum total of our choices. And the sum total of our choices, which we exist in now, the pollution, rampant homelessness, the general unfeeling toward our fellow man, has corrupted the balance itself. The Garou are now fighting a losing battle in a time they are dubbing the apocalypse, with an attempt possibly in vain to correct or bring balance back to the. And I believe that brings us generally up to where we are now. The Garou are a relatively loose-knit society, focused more on their, with a heavier focus, stronger bonds, maybe is a better term, for their packs, the most basic social unit of the werewolf. Friend group, family, maybe better terms that we as regular people understand. Each pack may have members from different tribes. Your tribe is your lineage of werewolf, connected to a patron spirit that blesses you with gifts talent. And then, of course, that all goes up to the larger Guru Society. Each, we'll do some fun role playing with introducing more of the Guru Society in just a little bit, because technically speaking, we don't have any Guru yet. We just have my players.
Yeah,
We have no Guru.
we're form.
We have no werewolf.
Yeah, we're forming a pack, guys. That's us.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Now,
I have two questions.
and as we do this, we'll talk about some of the other stuff that I want to address.
Ashley has a couple questions.
Ooh, Ashley has questions.
Ashley
What
has
questions do you
questions.
have?
My first question, is this taking place in like 2023, like right now?
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
my second question,
Or the relative near present.
the relative near present. Great.
I love that.
My second question is, when we played Cyberpunk Red, there was a significant change in the timeline that was a part of the lore. Like, did all of the historical events that we know of now, like, is that all a part of our history in this world as well? Or are there any major changes that we need to be aware of?
Eric Stoltz was the star of Back to the Future.
It's important.
He got it over.
Think
he
of
got
it.
it
Think
over
of
the
it more.
man himself.
Yeah, no. So that's a joke. I was watching a TV show the other day, and that was like one of the changes in the universe.
That was a bit.
Back to the Future. Eric
were
Stoltz is
going on.
awesome. Eric Stoltz is awesome. And if you guys don't know this, our viewers, Eric Stoltz was actually supposed to be Marty McFly. He had a scheduling conflict or something like that. He couldn't be it, and that's why we have Michael J. Fox as Marty McFly.
Man.
It was a great Marty McFly.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Classic. Think of it maybe, actually, you're familiar with Quentin Tarantino's films?
Yes.
Yeah, much like this. There may be some different historical items that happen, and if you guys want to establish that yourselves, like, that's fine. Build some lore in this fictional universe.
Mhm.
But things like because I don't want to run into branding issues. The most popular brand of cigarette may be Old Smoky.
The most popular, or one of the top soda brands is Dola Cola.
Dola Cola. Yeah.
One of
Give me a
the top,
Dola.
one of the top methods of transportation are Zeppelin. Why are there so many Zeppelins everywhere?
Yeah.
Why do they say Lindenberg across the side?
They blew the shit out of the sky.
Yeah,
Right. Maybe we have things. Maybe we have things like America didn't get rid of most of its train systems, and we have a much more less silly elements. America didn't get rid of its train systems due to the car, and we have although
That sounds idealistic.
Yeah, right. So for all intents and purposes, it's the world we live in now. Kind of
Great.
with a slight twist.
Yeah, Hitler got down.
Of course.
Now everybody's more
Right.
violent.
Welcome to Italian.
In this, it's things are darker. Fashion is a little bit more gothy, a little more punky. Yeah, that sort of thing. Minor difference.
You mean we can burn down Hot Topics?
There's too many.
Yeah,
Too many to
burn.
Yeah, thank you.
Robert Pattinson was Batman first. Twilight series doesn't exist. Whatever.
They don't sparkle.
That. Yeah, no, the Twilight series does not exist in this universe. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense for it too. So that sort of, minor differences like that. But otherwise, yeah, we exist in, 2023. I had thought about framing it in Columbus because this is a area that all of you are relatively familiar with.
Yeah. It's close to home.
It's close to home. Yeah. So, but sorry, did you have more? Was there more questions?
No, you answered all of them. For viewers at home, specifically Columbus, Ohio.
Columbus, Ohio. Yes, not
Yeah.
Columbus, or any of the other Columbuses that I'm not aware of. Yeah, this will take place in Columbus, Ohio, because it will be the easiest for us to kind of, as this exists in the real world, like when I played back in New Jersey, everything took place in New York.
Oh, that's so neat.
Yeah, when we played Vampire, it was in New York.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Did you Staten Island?
No,
I do in the shadows.
I think yes. No, I think we usually had things take place in either Manhattan.
You know what's crazy?
Largely because those were the two neighborhoods we were almost.
Apparently, in DC Comics, Gotham City is in New Jersey.
That makes sense. Yeah. So Metropolis might have been New York, and Gotham would have been something like Jersey City or.
I thought Gotham was Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I always thought it would be
Gotham was Chicago.
Oh, yeah.
Or I thought Gotham was New York and
Metropolis was Chicago.
Because of the way those cities were back when kind of
that came out, and yeah.
That's why I thought it was Pittsburgh, because it was like, steel capital of the world.
Yeah, that would make sense. Any of those Rust Belt bands, like I wouldn't be surprised if Gotham was in Cleveland or Buffalo, Pittsburgh, any of that.
It's weird because I think at one point, like
Star City, supposed to be San Francisco.
Those were all fictional, and none of the real cities existed. But at some point, they introduced all of those other real cities. Like New York City does still exist.
And DC.
DC.
And there is a neighborhood called Gotham in New York, so that might just be it. But yeah. Yeah, the world is a lot like, and if you're also looking for tone, The Batman is a great. Speaking of Robert Pattinson, cities are a lot like that. Cities are a lot like Gotham and The Batman. Or, yeah, that's a good one. We'll go with that for right now. Yeah. Moving on. So, we'll talk about, there's lots of themes, alienation, that one, familialism, Garou Society is very collective oriented. The needs of the group always outweigh the needs of the individual. Old dogs, new tricks, young blood. It's, like I said, the Garou are fighting a losing battle. Archaic methods, but new Garou keep coming in each time, or all the time, and they bring with it new ideas, attitudes, especially if they were born human.
Because it seems like, as I was reading a little bit, it seems like there's definitely different ways to play the game. That's what I really think is cool. There's different avenues you can play. But it seems like the main thing it kind of sets you up is that most werewolves kind of are like eco-terrorists a little bit, where they kind of like try to...
There's some light eco-terrorism.
Yeah. Where there's like, oh, here's a polluting factory, and we go in, we destroy it.
Yep. What happened to that polluting factory? Oh, we blew it up. Regular Tuesday night stuff. Or we did something, we defeated it in the Umbral realm, and that just kind of rippled forward, and what happened was a thing was tripped, and the things kind of went down, whatever, doesn't matter. Of course, and one of my favorite themes of this is the road to hell being paved with good intentions. The life of a Garou is violent and tragic, confusing and painful. You try and make the best decisions you can, but because of what you are, it never really seems to go right. And you know, of course, the real problem is, are you really just too late? And are you screaming into the void, metaphorically? Yeah. So, I think everybody feel good about this background? Do you guys feel like you understand the world you inhabit
I think so.
outside of Garou?
Do Cheetos exist?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't
No,
see
it's
why not.
name branded. It's called
Cheetos.
Cheetos.
I thought you were talking about Cheetos, and I was like, why the heck wouldn't
Yeah, why wouldn't Cheetos?
yeah, they're just chilling in Africa. Leave them alone.
Actually, Takis won the snack war way earlier.
Yeah. That's it. No, it's Cheetos. It's Takis. So that's the real popular one. Takis are hot. Cheetos, man.
I can get down with that. I can get down with that.
Oh,
Yeah. You
so
know,
I know there's a character creation summary on page 83. I wasn't sure if I was jumping too far ahead or anything like that.
no. That's actually where I wanted to go next. So, you know, you are now all Garou. I would, before we get into some of the more personal items of your individual Garou, talking about how they feel about feelings, let's do, what did you say, Smith? What did you say, 18?
83. There's like it's cool because in the Werewolf the Apocalypse book, they have different little sections that are kind of blocked out in like a colored box. And that's really kind of like a quick summary of like chapter notes or things that are like most important. And at the beginning of the characters, chapter 4, they have one of these boxes that says character creation summary, which goes through all the different stuff that you need to start a character, as far as I know. So
There is also, and Renegade Games, shout to Renegade Games, we'll get you in the attributions again, I'm sure, but shout to Renegade Games. They have on their website a kind of quick and dirty character creation. I believe we shared that with the group before, so you all should have seen that. If you want to have that up with you as we're doing this. But also, there is a really, really fun thing that they include. And a lot of these resources, a lot of these supplemental resources are free on the Renegade website. Thank you very much, Renegade team, for making some of these mundane items free to the players.
they also have a free adventure right now for Month of Darkness for them, but we can cover that more later.
Well, it's cool because that actually, so that one, I did take a look at that. That builds on the adventure that we're going to be starting with, which is in the book. Yeah. So, you all may pull up the character creation sheet whenever you have a moment. I'm going to do that with you.
Yeah, the page 83 character creation summary is good to kind of get the quick notes, but the character creation summary, like actual PDF, has like the spark notes for like concepts, auspice, tribes. It has like quick little like, here's what this tribe is in like one sentence, which is really cool.
Yes, and your tribe is kind of, like I said, your lineage, your auspice, as werewolves are lunar creatures. It is your, you can think of it kind of like your astrological sign. Your auspice is governed by the phase of the moon at the time of your change, and influences not only some in-game mechanics, but really it is what determines your role in Garou society is. Where is it? Well, character create. There we go. Yeah. The Ragabox, the New Rune, Questioners of Tradition, Forward Thinkers, the Surges, which are born under the Crescent Moon, are Spirit Talkers, Mystics. The Philodox, Philodox, Judges, Even Mind, Even Hand, Arbiters, Leaders of the Societies, maybe, depending, really depending upon your tribe. Maybe Third, Philodox, and some of the others, maybe holding higher positions within a given tribe. The Galliard, Storytellers, Lord Keepers, Heralds, they're bards. And then the Arun, under the full moon, warriors and champions of Garu society.
Yeah. It kind of seems like a lot of these moon auspices and stuff like that is kind of like, if we were to relate it to like D&D, this is kind of like your character class, because it determines one of your gifts that you get, and the gifts that you get from your auspice is kind of important, especially because like it may unlock stuff in your tribe depending on what auspice you get, it seems like, and that will determine kind of like your play style when it comes to gifts, that is. So
yeah, and tribe, I guess, is more like background, but again, and to our audience, do not think about this game in traditional, RPG.
it is different.
It's just different. It's not one way or another, not opposite. It's just different.
Yeah.
Auspice might be a little bit like class. Tribe is maybe a little bit like background, or race, maybe a better
one-to-one.
right? Yeah, if we're trying to do the one-to-one, and we're talking about D&D specifically, I think that tribe would be a better tribe, and race in D&D go better one-to-one, and auspice and class go better one-to-one. But again, it's not necessarily a one-to-one. And please, guys, y'all, don't think about it as a one-to-one thing. Just enjoy the difference.
Mm-hmm.
The first thing that y'all are going to do is, think about your concept. Who are you as a person? As a Gauru? What's your thing? Here's for page 84 gives you maybe kind of a soldier of fortune, substance battled oracle. Edward's known, but he's for corporate malfeasance. Like what's kind of who you are outside of kind of the core mechanic, or encompassing maybe is a better kind of way to think about it. So to explore that, one thing maybe we can do now then is explore your character quest. How do you feel about being Garu? What does your character want, both short-term and long-term, and how do they usually go about achieving these goals? As well as things that would kind of prevent you from doing them. And, understand that. And that one's really important. because I think that the gap between desirability or desire and attainability is, something that will keep you going as a core motivator, or, especially for those of you who may choose to do a home or, an original story. This will give you stuff to kind of work into your campaigns to create obstacles or story hooks or whatever you want to do, challenges, that sort of thing, as you go forward as a storyteller. Now, as you're putting your characters together, I'll let you kind of mull the who and the who, what, why of your psyche, your ethos, better word, yeah, of your ethos, as you kind of fill in your character sheet. I don't know if we want to kind of do this round robin or you want to do that? How do you guys want to handle making your characters right now? Are there questions?
I'm torn between 3 auspices, so I want to hear what everybody else is picking.
Okay.
Yeah, because
you asked me, do you, as we're forming this pack, do you all have to be part of the same tribe? No. You do not have to do that. I can see in some games where this would be, I don't know if I would ever require it, but, DMs make other choices. You're all free to play the game however it makes it most fun for you, right? It's a game. Have fun. And especially as we players of the ABCs of RPGs, we want to show you what the game's capable of. So I think I would encourage you all to. But if you are, that's cool too. I don't care. I want you to play what you want to play. That's more important.
Okay.
I wanted to play a Wolfborn character.
Love it. Do it.
And it sounds like there's no special rules for creating a character that is Wolfborn. It is just a part of their background, and just take that into consideration as you're picking skills and things like that. About
very much so, especially as you're
probably won't know how to drive.
Yep, as you're picking skills and attributes. Keep that in mind. So you might just put up more points in your physical attributes. Because for anyone who hasn't ever seen a wolf up close, they're huge. They are huge. I think even when they sit down, they're like 4 feet. Like if they're just, doing the kind of normal sitting, 3.5, 4 feet tall. Some are bigger. They're huge animals. They are not dog size. Even they dwarf the biggest. Absolutely massive animals. So as a wolf, you might put more of your characteristics into physical and mental. Wolves are not stupid animals. So you might have maybe more in wit than intelligence, wits and resolve, than in intelligence, and most of your attributes may be physical. You would probably have very low.
Spencer, you said that you were split between 3 different auspices.
Yep. 50% of the auspices.
Yes. I had 2 I was interested in. I was primarily interested in being a thurge.
Okay.
But I was also open to the bardic one, the Galliard. Those were my top 2.
I love it. Both of those make a lot of sense for a Wolfborn character. You grew up or you changed, and you're so connected to nature that you were gifted magic powers to connect and commune with Gaia even better, or you just be a wolf out there howling at the moon.
Spencer, what were you thinking about?
I was thinking the Theurge, the Philodox, or the Gallard. Just because Theurge gets like healing stuff, which I always like to play kind of like a healing class. And Spirit Talking seems kind of fun. Philodox, though, like I just really like kind of like the concept of it, because you're like basically you get a lot of like commanding stuff and like I declare something or like detecting lies type deal. But Galliards are cool because like they help sing songs that balance like rage. Like they have like Song of Serenity and Song of I forget what the rage one is, but like basically it increases rage or decreases it. And that really I feel like would help out in controlling rage and making sure we don't frenzy. So I think it's cool.
I guess I just like when I read like through the auspices, I didn't see like what it gives you, I guess. Like what each like thing like does for you essentially.
Okay. That's fair. So the auspice again really kind of determines your place in the society and what you get from your patron spirit. Your style of play. So your auspice really kind of determines your style of play. Think about it maybe more like that, Dan.
Okay.
And
So it's not. There's no.
No, it's not like I get a Ragabash, and as a Ragabash, I get like this, that, and the other.
Okay.
Yeah, they're more sneaky, roguey-esque characters than they're more sneaky, roguey-esque sort of characters. But you'd still be like, so if you were here's a great example. Okay, so if you were a Black Fury Ragabash, you might be a top burglar sort of in your tribe. You would help your tribe sneak into places and plant a bomb in a factory poisoning a river. Sneak in, sneak out. The surges are the spellcasters, I guess you could say. Philodox does not have a good translation. They are reasoners. I don't,
They get like command word stuff.
Yeah.
That's like the closest thing that I could compare it to.
I can't, they don't really have a one-for-one translation.
In chapter 3, where it's like describing the various auspices, the last paragraph of each one kind of describes the type of things that character would kind of do in play.
Yes, that's thank
you. That's what I'm reading right now, Dalton. I'm rereading, I guess.
I also would like to point out that on page 149, it talks about the different gifts that each of those auspices get. So I know, Dan, you're saying like, oh, what do we get? And like Justin is responding like, well, it's more so just kind of like the flavor in your play style. It is that. It's that for sure. It's your role in your tribe. But also you do get certain gifts based on what you have. So that's where I was mentioning like the songs are with the Gallards and stuff like that. That's Ragabash gifts start on page 149 and kind of go through. And it shows you with increasing your renown, which is like your leveling experience, it shows you what you can kind of get later on, if that's fair to say.
Yeah, you get to pick one
gift,
one like auspice gift. You get to pick a tribe gift or whatever, and those gifts are like mechanical abilities that you would kind of like get if you were picking like a class or subclass in D&D.
Right. Okay. That
there's like there's like each one has like 4 different gifts associated with them that you can pick from.
Yeah, like on page 158, the Gallard gifts, like the first one is like animal magnetism, but the second one is like Howl of Assembly, and then it is just called Song of Rage. So then it goes into Song of Rage and Song of Serenity and stuff like that. So yeah.
Okay, I see what you're talking about. Okay, all right. Cool.
Is anybody
That I did not see before. Sorry, go ahead.
I find it interesting that the game kind of like has you start or with a concept, like that's step 1. Because I'm kind of like probably gonna back into a concept based off of all of the other choices and not kind of have one right away. I was kind of curious if anybody else had a concept that they were kind of like trying to emulate.
The reason World of Darkness does this is because, again, storytelling is supposed to be the forefront of what we're doing. So think about who you are, who your character is, and then we'll worry about the mechanics later.
Yeah, like I mean, it sounds like Ashley, you're pretty much the only one who might like have the start of a concept because you want to be a wolf board, and there's probably a lot of assumptions and things like built into that.
I have a whole backstory written already.
I love it.
Yeah.
Okay. So, I mean, given that you have like a backstory and a character concept, you probably have like the strongest idea of a character. And do you want to just like pick your auspice and tribe so we don't like step on your toes a little bit?
Yeah.
Sure. I'll be a Thurge. Is that how you say it?
I think so.
Thurge. I'm going to be a Thurge. And then I wanted to get a little bit of input on the tribe. I had a couple of ideas. So essentially I'll kind of tell you my character concept is basically I am this I am wolfborn. I have had a litter of pups, and one of my touchstones, which is like ties or connections, is going to be the runt of that litter. But they're grown up, they're doing great, but I'm still really attached. Essentially what's going to happen is that I change for the first time during there's a lady who's been tracking our pack and been doing research, and I was sedated and she was putting a GPS or tracker collar on me, and I changed for the first time and I accidentally killed her. And it was really traumatizing to me because we had grown to like have this understanding with her that she wasn't going to hurt us. She wasn't like the other humans. And then basically I'm as this character, I'm going to be a little bit more shy, a little bit more wolfy than human, missing my kind of comfort and structure. And I want to support my pack that currently exists in terms of like protecting their territory. That's going to be my top thing. So for tribes, I was thinking about being a Heart Warden or a Red Talon. That seemed to make sense for the goals that I had. But I also wanted to be really in tune with like spirits and nature. So I was also open to the Silent Strider.
I would say, based on what you're describing, Red Talon maybe seems a little bit more violent and aggressive than the type of character that you're describing.
Yeah.
To me.
Yeah. Actually, I agree with Dalton on that one. You said not the Red Talon. Which one's for you? Red Warden.
The other one, I was looking at Heart Warden and Silent Strider for tribes. Heart Wardens defending and nurturing territory. Silent Strider wander the land and explore the spirit wilderness.
So if you guys take a look at the player's handbook, each and it's especially cool if you get the digital one, which we all have right now. There are Heart Wardens are, but there's archetypes. And Heart Wardens are more kind of like wardens, stewards. shepherds.
Yeah, like the character you were describing actually probably sounds the most Heart Warden-y.
Cool. That's
Like,
helpful. Thank you.
Because you're kind of like talking about like more protecting and nurturing a specific area rather than like trailblazing, going out finding new stuff.
Yeah.
Cool.
And
I
you
love
said other than the Heart Wardens, who else was it?
The Strider, the silent Strider, maybe. Silent Strider, page 78.
Yeah, they're scouts. Stalker hunters.
I think Heart Warden makes the most sense, so I'm going to go with that.
Oh, and it is feared, as in theocracy.
Perfect.
Feared is a Greek word that means miracle worker.
All right, I think I'm leaning towards Philodox. But I'm still okay with doing a Gallard. Is anybody opposed to me taking to doing a Philodox auspice?
Go for it.
Okay. And I want to do a Children of Gaia.
So you're like a Healy?
Well, that's the interesting thing. So the healing gift only goes to the Theurge. So Philodox, what I get instead from that tribe, I can do like their base one, or I can choose the Philodox's specific one, which is Sense the True Form. So I can detect like a creature's supernatural nature, which is pretty cool. But I have a few questions about renown and stuff when we get there, because it looks like certain gifts need certain renown.
Yep, and it is Galliard, and how are we pronouncing? Philodox.
Philodox.
Yep.
So Dalton, what'd you have in mind?
I'm not sure. The only thing that I know about my character that I want to be true is that they were found by a kin seeker, but it was kind of like an accident.
Okay.
Not even
There's
not
a
by
lot on the
accident.
table,
It was
though, my
like,
man.
like the one time they got it right.
Yes. For those of you, actually, so while you guys are thinking about your characters, I'm going to address that real quick. Sometimes in Garou society, they like to go and see if they get rumor of someone who is supposed to have been blessed by Gaia and should be Garou, to go and change into their Phrynos form in front of them to induce their change. Now, this would be assisted with probably a Philodox and possibly Theurge to make sure that we are inducing it at the right time in accordance with their auspice, but blah, blah, blah. That, is really, backstory stuff. The problem is, because the thing is a lot of times, so for example, if you were out with your partner and you get mugged one night, and it happens to be the right time of moon, right phase of the moon, this duress would cause you to change. Problem is by the time you came to, your partner and everyone around you in like a 4-block radius would be dead. So now you have the awesome burden of knowing that you killed your beloved because you had money. So one thing that Guru Society thinks is a benefit is to go as a group and change for this individual so they can restrain them or at least be on equal footing. because during your first phase, you immediately frenzy, which frenzy is a term in Guru society used to describe a state of pure bestial ferocity. You are the bloodthirsty creature that we see in movies like American Werewolf in Paris, and so often in pop. A mindless, bloodthirsty beast. So, in order to spare other humans this damage, they try and find you. Problem is, they get it wrong. Usually.
Yeah, like from what I can tell, like werewolves have existed for a long time, and if there were any rhyme or reason to it, they probably would have figured it out by now.
Yep.
But
Gaia chooses.
Yeah, there doesn't seem to really be any sort of rhyme or reason.
Oh, and the problem is if they get it wrong.
Yeah.
Like a lot of times the human dies anyway. Like they'll get so scared they'll just run off a cliff or whatever, or run into traffic.
Right, because you just,
with no thought to their own safety,
you just did it,
which is probably a much more
whatever, and they went crazy.
Right.
So, I have a question. It's kind of like, so something you said kind of like helped form a character that I'm thinking. I think I really want to play a Glasswalker now and do like the more human side, and show like the more human side of things, and being brought into that.
I love that you're a Glasswalker. You're kind of like techie, like you're like, oh, that beastie part of me, so uncivilized. Where's my bidet?
So here's like my kind of min-maxy question is, if I were to pick the Galliard, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you pick a Galliard, you get animal magnetism. If I'm a Glasswalker, I also get animal magnetism. Does that like double up my animal magnetism, or is it like just like it's just an overlap that gives any like no extra bonus?
Oh,
like would I get like?
That's a really good question. That's one I am not. I will have to read the rules more thoroughly.
I think so. In that like list of gifts, where there's like the list of Galliard gifts and there's the list of Glasswalker gifts.
Right.
I think you don't just like automatically have all of them. I think you pick one.
Oh, okay.
So like you have like the option of taking.
Choose 3 starting gifts. Got it.
Yep. So I didn't know if you were going to take both to try and double up, which is
yeah. So I, like basically like, any human interaction, like I'd be fine, right? Like, is it the difference between being able to, completely like smash through a situation or, doing okay in a situation, right? So
I would generally advise you to opt to be
wide or tall.
more. Yeah. I would advise you to not double up on it, even though you might be able to. I'd have to double check. But the thing is you want to be able to be prepared for multiple situations, because
generally better to go wide than go tall. Got you. Okay. That makes sense. So then because I'm thinking like a lot of, and I feel like it could really change depending on like how you kind of want to play. Like if I pick the Glasswalker, glory, glory, wisdom, wisdom. I think I might want to play the Ragabash and do like a stealthy Glasswalker,
That would make a lot of sense to me.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, like someone who
Glasswalkers, I would associate the auspices, and of course there's all, but Glasswalker auspices probably play really well, or Glasswalker the auspices of the Ragabash or the Beard
Yeah.
probably play really well with Glasswalkers.
Yeah. I think I'm going to go with the Ragabash, if that's, unless you were thinking of doing Ragabash, Dalton.
No, go for it.
Nice.
I'm going to write down Arun.
Nice.
Ooh, you are going to be an Arun. Yes. And likewise, of course, Arun probably plays really well with Shadow Lord, Red Talon, Black Fury.
Why can I not edit this PDF? I swear to God.
You should be able to click on it.
I know.
So I'm you too.
That's working for me.
Oh, I had to download it and bring it into a separate editor. Okay, sorry.
Oh, okay. No worries.
Technical difficulties.
I like how that's our thing now.
Oh, and as you're putting in attributes, y'all remember that you have to click each tip on the sheet to fill it in. So just you can't just go up to the high one that you want and it'll.
You have to click each individual dot because, like you're saying, it works in pools of dice. So, like, for example, my are we doing the different there's different distributions. I just did the one that's on page 83, but I know there's other ones that I can pull up.
That is up to you. Take the one attribute. Let's do it like that for now. I'm sure there is a way to do it individually, but let's just do the.
What it says, like.
Oh no, that's skills. Sorry, skills is the different ways. Attributes are always the same.
So when it says your tribe assigns a favor and a ban, what does that mean?
Oh, go to page 53. So I just got that. So my tribe is going to be Children of Gaia. So like their favor. Oh, I just wrote it down. Hold on. Their favor is because my patron spirit in Children of Gaia is the unicorn. So unicorn encourages her followers to learn people and spirits and learn how people and spirits interrelate, understand what makes the Umbra and the physical world work as they do, and restore things to their function. So that's kind of like the kind of general flavor of it. And then a child of Gaia may add a die to an awareness or insight dice pool related to learning something about an individual person, animal, or spirit. So basically I get an extra die for like trying to learn something about somebody. But however, I also get a ban. The ban is unicorn is forthright and despises dishonesty. If a child of Gaia must lie or misdirect or hide truths specifically for personal gain, they may recover only a single willpower at the start of the next session instead of their composure or resolve rating. Basically, each tribe has a specific thing that's like, hey, you can't do this, and if you do, well, you only get one willpower starting next session. So
wait, so like actual page 53
for you, Dan, for the Glasswalkers, if you go to like page 71, in like the section all about like the Glasswalkers, who they are, there's a section on their patron spirit, which is why I laughed, which is the spider.
That is funny. Okay.
Oh man.
So your favor is you get to add a die to technology or science roles related to like building or repairing things. So you're just by default a little bit better at like.
I really like your tribe, by the way.
But if you harm. If you like destroy any complex machines, like vehicles, computers, or anything, you only recover one willpower at the start of your next session, so you don't heal as much. because like your patron spirit got mad at you for harming one of its little like machines.
So if I play a video game and get mad and chuck the controller across the room and break it,
Yeah,
I would be a ban. Yep.
yeah, you
And depending upon the level, depending upon how, like, so that might, patron spirit might not really even be all that mad about the controller issue, but yes, but so for example, if you blew up a dam,
Mhm.
the turbines in the dam, if you destroyed the turbines in a dam, you may have to have extra consequences for that. It's specifically for rolling against Bogaki. I'm saying that right. Which is you have sinned, and you need to make sure that there aren't extra bad consequences for that.
By the way, I am a member of the Gale Stalkers.
Ooh.
I have to figure out someone I have a pretty hard grip against. So at this point, we all have our auspice and tribe, right?
Yeah, I had started assigning attributes to myself.
Yeah.
I'm on skills.
Can I read something to you guys really quick?
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So for composure, it's one of the attributes you can get. It allows you to remain calm, command emotions, whatever. And it gives you lists in the handbook about what like 1 dot, 2 dots, 3, 4, 5, or how, what that is equivalent to. And 1, the slightest insult or confrontation raises your hackles, continues to go up in terms of your composure. 5, you probably wouldn't have paid $44 billion for Twitter.
Man, I wonder when.
I wonder who that's about.
Buddy.
That's weird.
Really funny. Shout out to page 87 of the core rulebook.
Shout out to page 87.
We can kind of go over this next bit, and that is like attributes. A lot of games have attributes, just kind of like demarking various physical and mental things about your character. Werewolf has them split out as 9 different attributes, split into 3 different like types: physical attributes, social attributes, and mental attributes. It kind of works off of like an array system where you just kind of assign points in an array to like each of those 9 little things, determine what you're good at, what you're bad at. The points you assign, I guess it kind of touches a little bit on like the dice pool and actual like resolution mechanic of the game. I don't know if you wanted to explain that, Justin, while we're
Yeah. So, and if you look at page 89, it'll give you a character create and pick one of these skill distributions. Right above skill specialties. The way that this works is it's one of my favorite things about kind of the whole World of Darkness setting. If you don't like math, this is a cool game for you. Everything is, so you only use one kind of die, and that is the 10-sided die. And your difficulty for how tough a thing is set on this scale. With 1 being routine, turning your car on in the morning. We've all botched this roll by forgetting to, if you have a push start car, forgetting to push down on the brake before you start the car. That would be an example of a failure, but normally speaking, you push your foot down on the brake, you start the car, or you turn the key. That's easy. You can just do that. For a lot of those things, I may not, unless there's some sort of duress involved, whatever. We'll get to how you succeed checks in a minute. But the way that check would work on this kind of 1 to 10 scale, or maybe really 1 to 9 scale, where 9 is almost impossible. You know, the example that they give for a level 9 difficulty action is finding one homeless person in LA in one night. Good luck. And then, yeah, so, you know, like I said, turning on the car is a difficulty class 1. Now, you have your abilities to see how many chances at how many increase your statistical likelihood of passing a check. You would roll. You're in a fight, and you're like, I want to claw their face. I'd be like, cool. Roll me some strength and roll me some brawl. Or, you know, I want to do like a jump kick right to their chest. Cool. Give me a dex and a brawl. You know, or, you know, the other thing is you do have multiple things you can do, especially in combat. That's determined by, I think, either your willpower or your rage, depending upon kind of what's going on. You know, so if you have, I don't know, 5 willpower, 6 willpower, whatever, you'd go and you'd be like, I want to run along the wall, and then I want to, like, as I'm running along the wall, I want to be shooting my guns Matrix styles, and then I'm going to jump off the thing, and then with my last action, I'm going to pistol whip this person. I'd be like, okay, that's a lot. For the wall running, to get up to the wall is 1 action, so I'm going to need a strength plus an athletics check. Because you got to jump up on that. And then as you're running, give me a dex and an athletics check to make sure you can kind of run along the wall. And then as you're shooting, I want a dex and firearms roll. And then you're going to give me another dex and athletics roll to jump over to the guy, and then to pistol whip him, you're going to give me a strength and brawl.
Mm-hmm. So where are people at with like their attributes? I don't know if we need to like go one by one. I'm curious where people are putting like their most points and their least points, so I can get an idea of what their characters.
So I'm going way heavy more on the mental. So my character is a disgruntled engineer, former engineer of Twitter. Like was really disgruntled, super like smart tech engineer, like was one of the people that got laid off by Elon and just like became a werewolf. Like was at home working from home, received an email and was just like the moon was right. Like it was just so from remotely from the computer was so aggravating, like just like sent them into a rage and they turned into a werewolf and became a guru.
Yes.
I love it. Because my character is wolfborn, like we had talked about with Justin earlier, I
also they're
focus Sorry, what's up?
No, go.
Oh, I'm focusing more on the physical attributes, so I put 4 into stamina, and then a little bit into social, and I really dumped mental. Intelligence is my 1 because my character is gonna be illiterate because they grew up as a wolf and never learned how to read and write. So, that's kind of how I'm putting my attributes. So is mostly physical, a little social, and least mental.
So, being a Philodox, hopefully I'm still pronouncing that right. I mostly focused in social, so like I kind of have an even distribution, but like I have 3 in charisma, 2 in manipulation, and 3 in composure. But my highest is actually in my wits. I figured as like a Philodox and kind of investigating and doing stuff like that, either intelligence or wits would be good, and I decided to go with wits. My intelligence and resolve is only 2, but my wits is 4. And then my physical is probably the least amount because my strength is the 1 that I put in. My dex is only a 2, but stamina I put a 3 just as kind of like to keep up and everything. So that's my spread.
Yeah. I made stamina my 4 and charisma my 1. Not just that I was reading the Gale story, like kind of like not just like standoff, single-minded about stuff.
Yeah, they're the winter wolves.
Yeah. And so like but I kept up like high composure and high resolve that all felt like Gale Stalker type attributes and kind of like spread high-ish stuff across the 3 different bits. But yeah, next up is skills, and there's a big list of skills that cover a whole bunch of different stuff.
Which we know how Dalton feels about that.
Yes. Well, luckily for Dalton, you get the ability to
Technical traits.
right, but you are allowed to kind of say what you're doing, and as long as it's physically possible, I'll let you know what you need to roll. I'll let you know what you need to get for successes. And depending upon what else is going on, I'll let you know if there's any modifiers to it. Yeah, pick if you're kind of jack of all trades, more balanced, or a specialist. The physical skills are kind of exactly what's there. You do get, please remember, you do get a free specialty during character creation, which can apply to any skill. And then you can buy further specialties with experience points. A specialty is exactly that. It's something you're extra good at, like a sub kind of. If it's, so for example, a soldier found out that they were Garu when they were surrounded by the enemy and facing imminent death. And they decided to charge the enemy, got shot once, and killed immediately as soon as the bullet made contact. Killing everyone on the battlefield. You may have, depending upon whatever it was, maybe you were a demolitions expert or a marksman or whatever. So with your firearms, you would have something like demolitions or rifles or something like that. Light machine guns, something like that.
I think like each skill has like a list of like example specialties. If you want to pick like
They do.
That's what you want. Like driving, it gives like specialties of like particularly like ATVs or like motorcycles, like a very particular type of vehicle.
Yeah.
Streetwise, so it's like you could specialize in like arms dealing or graffiti, or
or yeah. So Dan, your larceny skill, you might pick security analysis.
Oh shiz! I didn't think about that.
Right. That sort of thing. I don't know if there's a better kind of or tech. Let's see. Do they kind of put hacking down in the tech section? The tech skill. Yeah, surveillance systems, hacking, right? Perfect. Computer. So the difference there with the security analysis is really kind of instead of doing it via computer with systems analysis, you would be kind of like casing and watching the guards come and go, timing, shift changes, that sort of thing. Of course, we do not advocate any of these behaviors. Don't do illegal stuff just because you saw us playing a game where it happened.
What?
We do not condone this.
I was going to go out right after this game and do all the things that we said we were doing.
Grand Theft Auto, and we're like, no, don't do that. We don't endorse that. We refuse to be held. I don't know what else we need to do to get out of to not be held. We don't condone this.
Turn my VPN on right after this stream is done.
Yeah, right.
What's everybody thinking their like main skill is going to be, just so like we don't overlap there? I mean, we probably won't, just because there's a whole bunch of them.
Yeah. I did the balanced distribution. So I got three dot skills. So I chose kind of social stuff once again. So I did persuasion as a 3 dot, etiquette, and investigation. I don't know how often etiquette will come up, but my character, I can do a full introduction later, but like being a Philodox, my concept is a wise philanthropist hard ass. So I figured etiquette would be very important to him.
Yeah. Excuse me. Dealing with other humans. And Guru society is pretty rigid. There's a lot of rules about respect and formalcy and stuff like that. So etiquette's a big thing. So if you need to make your case in front of council, that's the skill. So I don't know if we're going to do all that. Like I said, I haven't, I don't have every check memorized in the module, but
I picked it based on flavor, so
I like it.
I like when your code of honor, like code of conduct, is a synonym for like too much of a thing. Maybe there's a lot of rules in your society. What about you, Ashley? What are you thinking as your skill distribution? Is there any particular ones that you were focusing on?
I was gonna do the specialist, and I was gonna put Animal Ken as my top one. A lot because of flavor, because of like my background. I would have a good understanding because I am an animal originally. And then stealth, survival, and a cult were the next ones I was gonna have as my 3 dot ones. So
very cool.
Yeah, I was gonna do.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry, go ahead, Ashley.
I was looking up subterfuge. I was like, I have never heard of this word. It's deception, essentially.
Yeah. Lies. Deception.
Lying.
Yeah.
Subtly manipulating social situations. Getting people to play into what you want them to do.
Yeah, so I was going to do specialist, then I changed it to balance, and now I want to do specialist again. So after I've like reread everything.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to do my 4-star in technology because it's also flavor, but if I combine it with the spider, I can get to like a 5-star, which is like crazy. 5 dot. I mean, whatever. So I'm thinking that I'm gonna go that route.
Excellent. While you are all filling out these dots, keep in mind, having big dice pools to try and do a thing is not bad. It will especially help with auto success. Now, especially mundane things, I might just look to go ahead and do, especially if there is no one, like, I'm going to unlock the door. You don't need to roll to do that. You can just go ahead and unlock your door. We're being chased by a bunch of Black Furies, and I need to unlock the door super fast and slam it behind me. Yeah, we're going to have some checks there. That being said, even though there are checks involved, you might be able to auto-succeed at those checks. Because you can do a couple of things, and they're mathematically, I think, identical, but the book breaks them out separately.
My headphones just died. So one thing that you can do is you'll be able to either take half, which is a lot like taking 10 in D&D, where if your dice pool divided by 2 and then rounded down is greater than the check, you can go ahead and do it. Likewise, if your dice pool is double the DC, you can go ahead and do it. Like I said, mathematically, basically identical. But, Oop.
I'm going jack of all trades. I'm putting dots in everything.
I gotta go dark for a second, guys. Let me get a cord so I can plug my headphones back in.
Oh, no worries. We already lost Spencer.
Or do we want to take a quick break here?
Yeah, how about we take a quick break? That's
well,
we're gonna take a quick break. Thanks for everybody tuning in. We're gonna be back in 10.
Sure.
5 to
Okay.
10.
5 to 10.
All right. We'll be right back, everybody.
Justin, it's you again.
Oh, it's me. Welcome back, everybody. It's werewolf time. We here at TT RPG, ABCs of RPGs, where we play TT RPGs.
We do everything. We have a little bit of fun everything.
We do a little bit of everything. We got some fun, Weather on the ones, sports on the twos. You know how we do.
But what are we playing today, Justin?
We're playing Werewolf the Apocalypse 5th Edition, which is the newest reboot after the acquisition by Renegade Games from White Wolf, updating the cult classic role-playing game Werewolf the Apocalypse. We left off in our session 0 after discussing kind of the backgrounds of what we're doing, the world of darkness itself. And we were doing our character sheets and walking you through. So instead of rolling or choosing from a kind of free form setup, White Wolf has you just kind of hit a range of things that you would get. Certain stats will be set at certain things based on an array. It's an array creation, and it's an array creation for both your attributes, your skills, and advantages, stuff like that. You will get a specialty. You get a free specialty, which means that one of your skills works better when doing a specific thing. For example, if you have athletics, you could take a skill in specialty, or in a specialty in swimming. And if your character had to swim, they'd swim better. Pretty straightforward, really. That's one of the nice things about this system. It's a lot of rules, but all the rules function pretty simply. I believe we were about to set up our health. I believe everybody's gotten their skills. Do we have any questions regarding skills?
I have a question about skill specialty. So it says that we can take one free specialty during character creation to apply to any skill. I'm imagining that it should go to one of our higher skills, but like, does it have to?
Nope. I don't, and even if I don't think I saw it in the rules, but I'm going to go ahead and say that even if it says that in the rules, I don't care. So you can put your specialty wherever you want.
Cool.
Have fun.
I had a question about how you're gonna roll, or how you're gonna determine rolls for like combat. If you're, we were talking like if you're a Glabro, you probably still can use like weapons and guns and stuff because you're still mostly human. But when you're in your Krynos form, definitely can't really use like weaponry probably at that point.
That's not true. I would say that you can't use most firearms because your hands are too big. They don't fit in the gun.
Yeah.
They don't fit in the little, I mean, unless there is no finger guard on the gun, I guess, wouldn't really matter. But you might have some penalties because your hands are just big. And you are, you have all 5 digits, but they're, they're relatively hands-light.
Okay. But so,
especially because there is a particular guru often get a ceremonial dagger as a gift after their transformation.
I remember reading
So
that.
So you absolutely can use melee weapons.
Okay. So
now you wouldn't normally use it as a werewolf. You wouldn't normally use knife or sword or anything like that, axe, simply because steel isn't really harmful to, especially not in the long run, harmful to
So if
children
I'm in my Krynos form and I'm attacking with my claws, trying to claw into someone or bite someone, are you going to think that's more of a brawl roll or a melee roll?
Are those separate skills?
Yeah. Brawl is described as unarmed combat of all types, and melee is armed hand-to-hand combat.
Yeah. So if you're attacking with your ceremonial dagger, melee, just claws, I'm going to go ahead and say that that's a brawl.
Okay.
Because, I mean, likewise, if you were using just plain martial arts, a fist or an axe chop, so likewise with this, if you were just going to stab with your claws like that, that would kind of be, I don't really see any difference between these two motions. Versus all kind of the same thing. You're just leaving your fingers open instead of closing up into a fist.
Yeah, totally.
So I'm going to say that that's how that works. I'll double check the rules for us, but my ruling right now during character creation is that your claws are a brawl attack.
Cool.
I am confused about specialties.
Okay.
So I distributed my skills and I have all of that done. Let me get to the exact page. Sorry. But basically, when I'm at skills and everything, after it says like pick a spread on page 89. It says, after choosing a spread, take one skill specialty. Add free specialties to academics, craft, performance, and science skills.
Whoa, wait, what page are you on?
89.
Okay.
I guess I don't understand what a skill specialty is. Does that just add one extra dot, I guess? I was trying to read it.
No, so if you look at skills, do you see like where it says specialties?
skill specialty.
You're
Yeah.
really good at one specific thing that uses that skill. So, like, for Animal Ken, if you want to specialize in it, you can be really good with all animals, like, and have like four dice in your pool. But if you want to be especially good, you can specialize with wolves or falconry or training attack dogs. So that's essentially what it is. Is it's like in a specific circumstance that you use that skill, you're extra good at it in this special.
Yeah, you do get an extra die on your specialty though, mechanically.
Okay.
Yeah, so if you put 3 points into driving and you have a specialty with motorcycles, if you're driving a car, you'd get three dice added to your pool. But if you're driving a motorcycle in that situation, you would get to add an extra die to the pool.
Yeah, and likewise. So with the 4 skills that come with these, sorry, I'm taking more. So the 4 skills that do come with the automatic specialty, that's really to kind of allocate a field. So like with academics, or craft, artisanry, right? So you know how to use like a hammer and a saw and whatever, or axe, whatever. But your specialty might be carpentry. So when you're actually trying to like build a structure or like use wooden nails to do something, or wood carving, something like that. I don't, whatever. Or cairn rights is apparently a craft. So it doesn't always have to be I wouldn't say acting, because I would say no, that's covered by performance. If you want to be an actor, but that's where that goes. But painting, you might be kind of crafty, but you're really good at painting. And you might be able to commit minor crimes, like maybe like art forgery or something like that. So if you were going to be, something like that would be maybe 2 skills at the same time. Like, give me, you have to, or for example, you have a painting and that's your specialty. I might allow you to have an extra die because you're trying to create an art forgery. You're going to roll subterfuge, but you're going to get an extra die because you're doing that subterfuge with painting.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Trying to copy it, or maybe you just do the craft because you're just copying one painting back down. You know what I mean? Something like that.
Perfect.
That
makes a lot of sense. I think part of my confusion was I was looking for something on the sheet to mark or to put in, and I was like, where do I mark specialties? Where do I do that? So I just put it in my notes at the bottom, the second end.
Next to the skill to type in.
There is?
That little line.
What?
You can write what your specialty is.
Yeah, between
you just write it in right before.
I thought that was just dashes. Okay.
Likewise with academics, you have a if you look at those dots. So for example, like basic university education, with a 4-year degree. What was your major? That's your specialty.
Yeah.
Right. So think about it like that, especially with academics. Let's see, what were the other? We said.
Here, I have them all written down.
Craft, performance. Yeah. So for performance, it might be like guitar is the specialty. So anytime you're performing and you're playing your guitar, extra die. Science. Your discipline was botany. Anything with plants, extra die. I'm still a little confused about what the difference between botany and horticulture is. I think it's like actually growing the plants versus knowing what those plants are. But yeah, that sort of thing. Those would come and you will get an extra free one to allocate your kind of discipline of expertise. especially if you have 2 dots in those. That's your medium of choice or academic field of study sort of thing.
Yeah, I took a free specialization in armed humans in Brawl. My one that I get for free. But I also have a points in craft and academics, and those both come with the specialty when you put points in them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, likewise with Brawl, you can't just pick a thing of, you can't pick a style of martial arts, like you can't be Krav Maga because, or judo or whatever, because you could always kind of be doing, although judo might be a little different because that specializes in pros, and that's kind of actually something specific. But, like Muay Thai, like any kind of punch could be a Muay Thai strike.
Yeah, it says just to not make it so general that it would always apply. It has to be a specialty.
Right.
That's cool. No, that makes a lot of sense. Perfect. Thanks for explaining that.
Yeah. Streetwise. Or is that subterfuge?
This is kind of a question about a different section, but when you pick your tribe, there is also an archetype.
Mm-hmm.
Where do we put that on our character sheet?
I just put a dash, under tribe. I just put dash, and then I chose Wayfarer of the Children of Gaia, but because I didn't see a spot for that either. Then again, I could just be blind.
No. So think about it like this. And in this instance, your auspice is kind of irrelevant, but you're a silent strider, and your archetype is a long haul trucker. You might write that down, and you can write that down kind of anywhere. This is a play style element from what I understood about these. And then if you were the long haul trucker, you would have drive. Is there a kind of driving skill, or maybe driving? So you put driving, and your specialty, I might almost insist, is so anytime you were operating a large vehicle, truck, semi, whatever, like you're hauling. They're shipping some sort of irradiated material somewhere that they shouldn't be shipping it. You're going to hijack the truck, and you're getting chased, and you need to jackknife it real quick so that all of the trucks chasing you go and hit the trailer, and you broadside them and just cause an accident. To jackknife it real quick, you would get that extra die. It'd probably be something like Dex and driving. And you jackknife the truck real quick, and then we deal with the fallout of that action. But you would get 1 extra die on your driving skill to represent your expertise with trucks. As far as your archetype is concerned, and it actually having, a place on your character sheet and real game impact, I don't think so. I think it's more just flavor than anything else. So just put it wherever you feel like it. I think Spencer's putting it right after your tribe is probably the best.
Sounds good.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions about attribute skill?
That was super helpful. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
No, I think I'm good. I think
performance. Your performance specialty, spitting hot fire.
I actually chose rights. Rights was a part of that, and I was like, yeah, I want to be good at rights.
Cool. I think that's great. Health, willpower. These are. Oh, I guess we did skills kind of prematurely, but let's talk about health. Health is pretty straightforward. Your health rating equals their your stamina +3. Your stamina, pay attention, because your stamina will increase when you go into like Rhino Force. It will also give you, and you kind of mark those temporary health boxes appropriately, or however you want to kind of keep track of them from form to form.
So one thing, as we move further down, I think we can probably do renown. But
let's go to willpower first.
Oh yeah. Sorry. I thought I checked out a little bit. Health and willpower are both pretty simple. They're like calculated fields.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to.
You cannot buy extra willpower, generally speaking. You may be rewarded with extra willpower. There are ways to increase it, but it's not exactly. You really would need to increase your composure rather than just like adding the rest.
My health is a 6 because my stamina is 3 and it's stamina +3. And my willpower, I believe I have 5, and I believe it is composure plus resolve, if
that's correct.
Correctly.
Yep.
And so the thing is, which we'll probably go into later, there is superficial damage and I forget what the full
damage.
Aggravated damage. And
your claws, silver.
Yes.
Vampire bites, fire, aggravated damage. Think of it as temporary wounds versus permanent wounds.
Yeah. And those temporary wounds can turn to permanent, because basically how it works is that as you're going through the boxes, you denote superficial damage with just 1 slash, and then aggravated as 2, which form an X, right? So it's like half an X and then a full X for aggravated. Mm-hmm. And it superficial can turn into aggravated, but depending on different things. But like also, if you are full on superficial damage, then that turns into aggravated damage from there.
Yeah, so speaking, right.
So how I've been denoting on my character sheet, because I don't want to put X's because I don't want it confused with my actual health bar. I've been putting zeros. So I know, these are not health things. I have 5 open health things, and the other ones I haven't earned yet. So.
You can put a slash.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
Yep. If you just put a slash, I'm doing it right now. If you just click the box, you can. Yep.
Well, yeah, but slash it means damaged.
Yep.
I just didn't want to confuse myself. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, honestly, it's your character sheet. Y'all keep track of the stuff however makes sense to you.
Yeah, I think now that we've gotten our attributes, we've got our skills mostly figured out. Did anybody kind of want to talk about what skills they picked? Anything like representative of their character there that they kind of want to?
Yeah, I picked I put 4 dots. I took specialist. I put 4 dots into technology. And as a specialization, I didn't know if I should pick like coding or hacking, because it's like, all right, well, these seem like very like broad and
right,
similar.
Because hacking is really just manipulation of code.
Mm-hmm. Right. I put better coding to me would be like, all right, I want to build an application that detects, a security application that detects people coming into the cairn. Okay, cool. Like that would be coding. And then hacking to me would be like, I want to hack into corporation ABC's, database and get all of the locations of, their, illicit stuff, right? So
I agree. Yeah. I agree with that. I agree with those definitions, and I think you understood the spirit of the rules very well.
Okay, cool. Cool beans. One thing that it is a little bit different than because my my character is very much like, just, maybe like a security analyst or like someone who worked for, Twitter that got fired. Right. Major tech company.
Let's not use real world.
Oh, sorry. They worked for Bitter.
Yeah, for Bitter.
They worked.
Bitter.
They worked for Bitter.
They worked for a popular social networking site called Bitter.
Yeah. And they received an email, but one that doesn't really fit with like that mold. I took a 2 in firearms with a specialization in sniping. So I don't know. I don't really have an one.
You go squirrel shooting on the weekend.
Mm-hmm.
I want to be useful in a fight somehow. So
That's cool. You go squirrel shooting on the weekend. How about that?
yeah, that works. Popping squirrels.
Because if you did work for a popular tech company, a lot of them are based on the West Coast, and access to forests is totally something people do on the weekends all the time. Hunting, hiking, fishing, whatever.
Yeah, there you go.
We're outdoorsy.
That works.
I did jack of all trades, so I put a bunch of points in a bunch of different things. Like I kind of like left out stuff like finance or performance, politics. Like I kind of left those out and kind of focused on more general things. Just kind of like the idea is the kind of character needs to like dabble in a lot of stuff because of like the tracking and like hunting down nature of the tribe. They kind of need to like have their foot in a lot of things. But I put my specialties are all kind of like Garo culture adjacent. Like craft, I put my specialty into cairn rites, and my brawl I put into ceremonial combat. So
Okay.
I'm thinking like my character could maybe almost be like internal enforcer type person.
Ooh.
Like if like other like Garo or like going rogue or like actively harming our own culture. Like
you're like a military police.
Yeah, that's when I come in and hunt that person down and eliminate them.
Yes, that's actually you're touching on a in Guru culture. Killing another Guru, big deal. Heavily frowned upon.
Yeah,
If you have good reason to, though, it's okay.
Like I put
one of those particular,
like the ceremonial type of combat, like not necessarily like kill them, but like challenge them to an honor duel.
Yes,
with like stakes and rules.
I feel like my character is going to get along, or at least will cozy up to you or be good friends with you because he's very much like by the books rules kind of person. So like having you as like a muscle to help enforce all that, I feel like that'd be something he would be interested in.
Excellent. Do we have questions about how to do this though, rather than just kind of discussing what we've done?
I think we're good
because I know we are moving along on time, and I would like to keep things moving with session 0.
I think just a good idea to like describe our characters as we're getting them.
Okay, cool.
But I think we're all good on skills, right? We all have like fully assigned them out and know what we're doing there.
Yes.
Cool.
Excellent. Does anybody have anything they want to say about skills before we move on to? And do you guys understand? So we were moving on to willpower after health. Does everybody understand how willpower kind of works?
I think it would be beneficial to explain it.
Yeah. So willpower represents your. It's more than resolve. It is your intrinsic relationship with yourself. Mechanically speaking, though, you can use willpower for a lot of things. Repelling some pretty nasty effects will be part of your dice pool with willpower. Resisting frenzy is the big one. Because if you frenzy, everyone in the pack is at risk. Because you can't tell the difference. You've completely succumbed to the wild. and you are a vicious monster at that point, as vicious and unfeeling and unthinking as it gets. Willpower will be used to resist that. You may also use willpower, spend your willpower to accomplish, to get auto success. I would caution you about using your willpower flippantly, because if you use your willpower to get auto successes, that decreases your dice pool to resist things like frenzy. So, please do consider that when you're playing the game, that if you, if something has been used, willpower, or even if you have to, for whatever reason, roll a health roll, your injured states wouldn't count toward your same thing. Spent willpower is not dice you can roll now. You spent that. You no longer have access to that willpower. Until, next section when we, take a rest and get your willpower back. Although, depending on section to section, what's happening, maybe not. Does anybody have any other questions about willpower?
Nope.
Okay, cool. And then moving on, we will be going to your advantages.
I got
Sounds
a question.
good? Yeah.
Going into advantages. What are gafflings and jaglings? There's some sort of spirits, but I don't understand what they are, what the difference is.
Where do you see this?
They're mentioned in some of the advantages.
And some of the different advantages you can have. I'm looking at Spirit Pact on 105 in particular.
Not gonna lie, Ashley, I thought you were just making up words for a second. I was like, what?
I feel like I'm making.
What do we do about spliggles and biggles?
I'm more concerned about the diggles.
Don't worry about it.
Okay.
You said 105?
Yep.
Yeah. Let's see.
Like there's minor gafflings and moderate jaglings. I don't know, man.
105. Spirit. Okay, here we go. Let's see. Spirit acts as an ally when summoned. The exact suits to be agreed upon with the storyteller and the allies and antagonist chapter, and can provide a good starting point. Most Scourer prefer to make pacts with Gaian or wild spirits, might make deals with the servants of the Weaver. A few, often Ghost Council and Red Talentide, will even seal pacts with Bane and other worm spirits, though very carefully and in the utmost secrecy.
Page 236 is the gaffling section.
Gafflings and most lesser jaglings have limited perspective on existence. For example, asking an animal spirit what's next door might yield answers relating only to whether anything in there was edible or scary. Yeah, so if you're asking a mouse spirit what's in the next room, they'd be like, cheese and rice. And a cat. You're like, what about the humans? There's cheese and rice and a cat. Other spirits might be more helpful, but yeah, so that sort of thing. Machine spirits will be very binary in their answers. But yeah, I've not read a lot about the allies, but yeah, here we go. Spirits Weaver. Is that a Gaian spirit? The Jaglings and taglings,
Looking at it, looks like it's just kind of like
laser, blazer, all sorts of A's.
ranks of spirits. Like Jaglings are higher ranked than Gafflings.
Mm-hmm.
So it might
Like, yeah, the mouse Gafflings are like seems to be like the mouse spirit you're describing, whereas like Jaglings seem to be like a higher up, kind of like in the cohorts of spirits. So
let's see, giant spirit,
So, like,
animal spirit.
entities recognized as Jaglings include Cairn Guardians, idealized animal spirits, template forms of earth.
Jaglings are particular. Thank you for putting that in context. Now I know what you're talking about. So Cairn spirits are powerful. So like the Lady of the Lake in King Arthur is a Cairn spirit. Brother Bear. Or when you hear in like some more of the the Native American lore, the lore from the First Nations, when they talk about bear or raven, these are the primal spirits tied to these. So all ravens, there might be the spirit of an individual raven, which is we say Jaglings is the lower one.
yes,
Gaffling.
Gaffling.
Gaffling,
So the spirit of an individual raven is a Gaffling. Like if you were in the Umbra,
spirit of all
but-
ravens,
but raven
Jagling.
with a capital R as a separate being. Raven is a Jagling.
Awesome. That's helpful. Thank you.
Yeah. The spirit of an individual tree in a forest is a Jagling. The forest itself, the collective energy of the forest may be represented specifically differently in the Umbra. And that would be Jagling.
I really like the advantages and flaws because it looks like we assign 7 dots of advantages and 2 dots of flaws. And that can be a wide range of stuff. I would say on average, it looks like most things are like 1 to 2 dots, but like some stuff like looks, you can have up to 4 dots and be stunning. And I do like the differences between merit and like backgrounds. I've already picked mine, so I can go more into it. But like,
I picked mine too.
you did?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
awesome.
I can't wait to hear yours.
So mine is like just to give more backstory. I figure we'll do a full introduction at the end, but my guy is a wise philanthropist. The concept is the wise philanthropist hard ass. So I'm like, okay, well, if he's a philanthropist hard ass, what if he what's his philanthropy? What does he do? So I worked into his backstory that he works for an environmental organization called Conserving Nature. And so I gave him the advantage day job at 2 dots. So it is a corroborated day job. And with that, I also chose Safe House, the merit, as an advantage and put 2 dots into that for secure Safe House because it's the outside the cairn. It's okay. We can let's head to the business, the office building and hold up there. They'll cover us or something like that. And then fame. I chose fame as my last 3 dots because of my because I'm in a philanthropy, because I'm in this environmental organization. I chose 3 to put in that because I'm the head of this conserving nature organization. So but with that, my flaws, I chose 2. I put 1 in the mentor background flaw and chose an adversary. It specifically says like a Garu in there. And so I figured like being a Philodox and kind of a hard ass, I definitely pissed somebody off. I called somebody out on like the most bullshit of rules and was like, see, actually, you didn't do this right and this right. So actually, you have to go through this process now. And that guy just definitely did not like that. And now I feel like that person definitely despises me, and at every moment will try to like challenge me on anything I may propose or whatever. And then I also chose as a flaw. I also went back into fame as a merit flaw, and I chose infamous partner. So I put 1 dot into that, and I figured, oh, maybe somebody in conserving nature went a little bit too hard, went a little bit too far, and it stained a little bit of the company's reputation. You know, I am the face of the company. Somebody in my company did that, and that's bad. So I built it around this like philanthropic kind of business. And Justin, I hope that's okay. It seemed like a lot of the advantages and stuff built that out, and I was like, oh great, I'll do this. So
Yeah, that sounds okay with me, as long as it's good up in the rules. That all that sounds pretty in keeping with your character. So
cool.
Yes, good. Have a 3-dimensional fleshed out character. I want that.
All right, I love it.
So
yes,
I picked a couple. I did something kind of funny. Spencer, I also took day job, but I only took it at a 1 dot. Because my character works remote. Not a lot of people can corroborate it.
Yeah.
It's easier to fake a remote job, right?
He tunes in every once in a while. Yeah, he sends a message.
Right. So the really funny one that I did is I put resources at a 4. I put 4 dots into resources. Like my character just like being well off, like having money, like in like the human world, anything that we would need, like my character could probably buy it without like issue, for the most part. Like not a super billionaire out there buying like mega yachts and stuff, but like
4
yeah,
4 is a lot, right?
That's great. Yeah.
So I put 4 dots into resources, 1 dot into day job. I put 1 dot into contacts, like thinking that like, okay, like I know, people like I know like someone I know could make a call and like eventually like figure it out. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And then the last one, I put Moon Quickened. So Moon Quickened was one that I saw that looked really interesting, and I'm trying to find it. Yeah, supernatural situation. Regain 1 point of superficial willpower the first time you howl at the moon each night. So that's why I'm thinking like, if I'm like low on health or low on willpower, use a can't miss and then howl at the moon, get it back, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it seems like pretty good situation. But because my character is so wealthy, and because my character is high up and or was high up and bitter, and is a person is so good with like cybersecurity and whatnot.
Yeah.
They're a person of interest. That's the two dots of flaw, and it's under mask, person of interest. Personal info is known by many agencies. They just know who I am, like can't get out of that.
That's super cool. Yep.
Yeah,
Go ahead,
I
Ash.
can talk about mine. I told you guys from the get-go my flaw was going to be I was illiterate, and I am illiterate.
Which is hilarious.
So I can't read or write, and my science and academics are kept at a score of 1. For advantages, I chose a Power 2 spirit, and I gave them the companion feature. So they are like a higher level Gaffling. They're a moderate Gaffling, not a high, and they are able to accompany me wherever I go as long as I don't encounter specific spiritual wards or applicable countermeasures. So I thought that was interesting. And then I put 4 points into that, 2 for the spirit and 2 for the companion. And then I also put 3 points into Moonriled, so I gain an additional point of rage the first time I howl at the moon each night.
Do you now?
Sure do. I'm an angry wolf.
You are an angry wolf. What is resources? Is that background?
Resources is under background. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Background. Yep.
So does anyone else have one that they're...
I haven't picked specifics yet, but I grabbed things like obscure safe house. So I've got a place that's difficult to find. I have a clave, which is like a ceremonial, like silvered dagger.
Yeah, that's the ritual dagger I was talking about earlier.
I have a point with the Project Twilight lore sheet, which is like some shadow government, like make people disappear type organization.
Yeah.
Their 1 point thing is improper procedure, so I can like make a piece of evidence like disappear like once per session. I can just like no. Then
And it's gone.
yeah. And I also have a contact I haven't fully fleshed out. I haven't decided, but it's like a low level, like can get me just like some local dealer or something that can answer common sense questions. I'll come up with a whole person.
Dan, did you read the whole resources thing?
No, I didn't. I might want to. Okay. Okay, let me...
You may also have to take 2 points in your day job and sacrifice a point somewhere else to be wealthy.
Resources, this background...
And it might be what I consider to be wealthy versus upper class. Because like 3, you're a systems engineer at a software firm. Yeah, you're 3. That's cool. You might have just a regular day job that maybe people can't really, and your day job, now that you're not at that tech firm anymore, may have gotten less legitimate. Where you work, you might have to have some corroboration on who you are and what you do to be wealthy. Because that's a lot. Like I said, it's a lot of resources. So for, if you had taken 5, I'd be like, okay, well, if you take 5, you need at least 2 in that, and you're going to have another one in like Spain, because most ultra rich people have some degree of notoriety. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, so that's why my 2 flaws were person of interest.
Okay. Well, I like that. Yep. Okay. And then what was your other flaw? Or you have 2?
I put 2 dots into person of okay. all agencies pretty much know like who I am. Also because I'm like a cyber tech something, right? Cyber.
We're gonna put a risk on all that. And if there's anything I want to talk to you more about, I'll just reach out to you on that.
Okay.
I don't want to stifle the creativity, but I do want to make sure that everything's kind of kept in like the spirit of what it's supposed to be. So we'll do that in general. Everybody send me a copy, or everybody upload a copy of their character sheet into the drive if you can after we're done here, so I can do a little review.
Will do.
That way I can also like make sure that I'm reviewing the rules and stuff and taking a look at your character sheets and paying attention to like what you've taken so I know what skills to worry more about as we're playing. But yeah, if you took that 2, yeah, you might be all right. We're going to say you're all right for right now.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't have to like buy whatever.
I mean, 3 would allow you to buy pretty much whatever you want.
No, I know. So, like, I guess like what I'm saying is like if I'm at a 4, right? You can
like you only at 4 you only fly first class.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. But like I said, we'll see what's going on. Everybody,
and it's gonna be funny bringing Ashley's character on. It'd be funny if we had like a first class flight and we had to bring Ashley's character on, just like walking around like.
on the airport, getting close to the airport. I don't like the steel birds.
Rubber Raggy.
Ruh-roh, Raggy. Steel birds.
Who brought the gabapentin?
Exactly. Yeah. Okay. So that's fine. I think everybody's character sounds pretty much okay. I do want to reserve the right to contact you and have additional conversations if I see anything concerning, but everybody sounds fine right now. Your next item on the character creation is, of course, the
Renown.
The Renown. Yes. We've gone through your...
I don't understand Renown.
It's a little confusing, I know. So basically... Oh, sorry. If you want to explain
No. Go for it. Yeah.
So you're gonna get 2 renown from your tribe. So, for example, I'm Children of Gaia. They are a wisdom tribe. So I get 2 points in wisdom. If you look at your first page, you have renown, glory, honor, wisdom. So I get 2 automatically in wisdom, and then you get to put 1 more point in any place, which I chose glory because eventually when we get to gifts and rights and stuff like that, that's what I needed to get to use that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So what is your tribe again, Ash?
I'm a Heart Warden, so I get 2 points in glory, but I don't know what that means.
So, yeah, go
glory
ahead.
Speaks to the immediacy and success of taking action. So you're known as someone who gets things done. Take charge. Glory can also be seen as suspicious among some of the tribes. Like, what are you getting at? Why are you climbing the ladder? Who do you think you are? Sort of thing. Even though that might be not how you got your glory.
Mm-hmm. So on the character creation summary PDF, I'm not sure if you have that open, but we're kind of going down. Okay, great. So under renown, we start getting to starting gifts. So each gift relies on wisdom W, honor H, or glory G. So if we go down to theurge gifts, for example, if you wanted the Mother's Touch gift, which allows you to heal other physical living creatures, that is a glory gift. So you would need to have points in glory in order to do that, which you get from your tribe.
Right.
So that's good. Yeah.
If you look at if you look at that character creation sheet, they give you a quick little 1-sentence summary of what that is. So glory is a history of violent or otherwise traumatic triumphs. So in your case, maybe Ashley, instead of the more violent side, you are a healer. You heal, brought somebody back from the brink of death. That was important to Gary's society. Mm-hmm. Dramatic triumph. Gave them a little bit of healing mid-combat, so it gave Arun a little bit of healing in combat, so they could defeat an agent of the worm. That's for them.
A good one for you might be as well. A lot of your gifts that you get from Theurge rely on wisdom. or even the native gifts. Like, for example, the native gift you can get phenomenal senses, perceive the spirit in mundane worlds.
Penumbral.
Oh, sorry. Yes, penumbral. So that might be something you want to go for your native gifts. So putting your other point into wisdom would be a good pick for your character.
Yeah,
You'd be
penumbral
locked out.
senses is like you can kind of see both worlds at the same time, or reading that sort of thing. Speaking with animals.
Yeah. Because you're going to get one native gift, one auspice gift, and one tribe gift from all the different stuff. And so that's why I'm saying, like, okay, so you're going to be locked out of one of the renown, like, pools.
Right.
But that's okay. Like, you can still get other cool gifts and everything from those.
Cool. Thank you, guys.
Yeah. Likewise, Dan, who I may recommend for you, depending upon what you're
Yeah.
Ragabash?
Yeah, honestly, I was thinking penumbral senses.
Blissful ignorance. Interesting. Okay.
What were you gonna suggest, though?
Oh no! I like that. Yeah, that was one. That was one of the ones on my list for sure. Spider Song is also another one, but because they're both wisdom, so it kind of depends.
Right.
I would say don't take Gremlins because you're a glass walker and
right.
Breaking things is bad.
Yeah.
So while everybody else, I think, is picking their renown and gifts and stuff, I can go over what I picked.
Yes.
I get 2 in wisdom because I'm from the tribe Children of Gaia. So I got 2 in wisdom, and I chose my other 1 to go into glory. Even though I really wanted honor, turns out the things I wanted to get was a glory thing. So I did glory. So my native gift. It was an N word. I knew it. That sounded wrong. Native gift.
I was gonna make that same joke, Spencer.
Phrasing, Lana. Phrasing.
Phrasing. My native gift is, I'm gonna mispronounce this again.
Penumbral.
Penumbral.
Penumbral. So I knew that.
Umbral, the shadow.
Umbral. Perfect.
Oh, that would be Panumbral. It doesn't matter. You can see. You got the spirit.
So I know that Ashley was gonna probably do that as well. So I mean, like, I would like to talk to the spirits as well, because perceiving the spirit of mundane worlds, I feel like it's an important thing to do.
Perceiving and speaking to are different.
Oh, okay, got it. So I can just help perceive.
Because there's a gift that lets you speak to it specifically.
Oh, okay.
I think that's one that actually was thinking about taking. And the other one is
Are you sure? I don't think that's an option I get.
Hold on one second. I'm looking.
While you're looking, what I chose as my auspice gift, which is the Philodox, I chose Gaia's Candor, which works really well being a Children of Gaia as well. But basically, it determines if the target believes what they say. So it's kind of like I can sense if you're lying to me type deal, which I think is really cool. And then my tribe gift. So there's the tribe gift that you can normally get, but I also could choose an extra Philodox gift based on my tribe. And the one that they offer Philodox is Sense the True Form. So I chose that, which is really cool because it allows me to detect a creature's supernatural nature. Not necessarily like what it is. Like, if I've never experienced a vampire before, I'll just know that it's a supernatural being of some sort, but I won't necessarily know it's a vampire specifically, which is pretty cool. So it basically just allows me to kind of sniff out, like, oh, this person's a little bit more magical, a little bit supernatural. So, which I think is pretty cool.
I'm changing from penumbral senses to eyes of the owl. I want to see in the dark,
Sweet.
especially if I can shoot a gun in the dark. That'd be dope.
Dope. Yeah, so penumbral senses you perceive. So the Garu's senses become attuned to both the physical realm and the Umbra at once, enabling them to perceive both worlds simultaneously without penalty. A pattern spider is who grants you this gift. It's a renowned gift. It costs 1 willpower to use. It's a free action, so you decide I can do it in addition to whatever. You will use your intelligence and wisdom to use this gift. And whatever the difficulty of the gauntlet is at the time, which is breaking through to the Umbral is not an easy process. They don't want you there.
Yeah.
So there is a level of effort that is required to get through. Now at cairns or something like that, holy sites, it's probably a 2. But in the heart of the city, it's 5 or maybe more.
Okay.
It's just kind of, it's how difficult is it to get to the Umbral from where you are. And if you are in the Umbra, beings in the physical world won't recognize you, but you can perceive the physical world at the same time. So if you're looking at something like in the Umbral and it's appearing one way, you can see what it actually is in the physical world at the same time. Now, beings in the physical world won't perceive you. However, if you are in the physical world and you use this gift, the spirits in the area will recognize you are there. You make yourself visible to them. And then I thought there was something else that lets you talk to animals. I don't know. I have to really read these, which is also part of why I want your character sheets. I want to know how your things work.
I do want to let you know, originally I had said that I put 3 in stamina and 2 in intelligence. I wanted to reverse that since I'm taking the penumbral senses because it uses intelligence. So now I was going to put 3 in intelligence and 2 in stamina instead, and that reduced my health down to 5 instead of 6.
That's okay. And y'all, if you decide to make changes to your character sheet, you can go ahead and do that. Let me know what you did.
Yeah.
But nothing. This is character creation. I'm not going to hold you. Like once you say you want to do something here in section 0, and then you change your mind 5 minutes later, I don't care.
Thank you.
5 sessions from now, or whatever, if we get to that point, a session or 2 from now, no.
You're locked in then.
I think I'm going to have to enforce that. If it's really, you're like, hey, this doesn't play like I wanted to play, I'm not having fun, that's a kind of a separate conversation to me, and we can talk about that. Because again, I want you guys to have fun during this. So, and you're also figuring out how some of this stuff works. So, I'll definitely give you 1 session. By session 2, you're locked into what we're doing, because I think we're only going to end up playing 2 or 3.
Cool.
Alrighty. So Spencer, you got yours. Ashley, did you figured out what your do?
I took penumbral senses, mother's touch, and blessed brew, so I can perceive spirit and mundane worlds. I can heal other physical living creatures, and I can infuse a beverage to strengthen my allies' resolve.
That's awesome.
That is cool. Yep.
Interesting potion type thing.
Love it. We got.
I grabbed Raging Strike, so I can just when I punch something, I can make it punch harder because I'm mad about it.
I love it.
I Lacerating Wind, which calls upon the cold winds to slow down and hinder people. and halt the coward's flight, which is when someone is running away from me, I can growl about it and they will freak out and stop running.
You get extra angry and they freeze up with fear.
Yeah.
Love it. Dan, so we got the owl sight. What else you got?
Blissful Ignorance and Spider Song, I think, were the that I took.
And you're a Glasswalker. Spider Song. Eavesdrop on electronic communication. Oh, cool. Oh, and the rocket box get. Oh, yeah. Cool. Okay. So you took a native gift, and that was Eyes of the Owl. Your rocket box gift was Blissful Ignorance and Spider Song. Yeah, that's perfect. Oh my god, I love that. You gonna be the sneakiest sneak. Linking
Good try.
Linking in for your computer. Spreading the cash amongst your friends. Okay.
So how do rights work?
Right. Right. 180. Right, which can be found on page 180. Get out here, just for moving on to right.
Because I was looking at taking.
They are things that Garu used to keep order amongst themselves because, again, they are creatures of rage.
Mm-hmm.
So, one of the things that Garu society does is they end up having a lot of rules and etiquette procedures to keep each other from killing each other.
Important.
There are death rights. There are other sorts of rights. But yes, there's Garu society, despite its savagery, is a remarkably formal society. I don't want to use the term organized because that's not right, but it is an incredibly formal society. You may not use your rights if you have lost the wolf, which is forget how you lose the wolf, but you lose your connection.
It's when you get zero rage.
Zero rage. Oh, yes, you've lost the rage inside you and can no longer really need rights. If you're not at danger of flying off into a death spiral, a carnage spiral. So rights will be very important, I believe, to you, Ashley, and surprisingly enough, our Arun. Who has a lot of
Okay.
So here, I'll read the rights breakdown for everybody, because you're all, I think, still looking at stuff. So, as Garu are creatures of volatile rage, their gatherings are fraught with tension, pride, frustration, the base aggression inherent in the werewolf's nature. Not to mention the constant struggle for renown. Because you guys want renown. You want to be renowned in Garu society. It buys you. And it's like being famous. People will treat you better. People will listen to you more thoroughly. That sort of thing. People will not just listen to you, but take heed. all of these things can turn the most innocent social gathering into an all-out brawl in less time than it takes to say the stink of the Weaver. Rights therefore constitute the glue that bonds Garou society together. Every aspect of werewolf social life can and often does take a ritualized nature, as masters of various rites guide their fellows in the complex forms of interaction that help Garou from different packs and steps relate. Werewolves observe rites for just about everything, not just formal rites, such as bestowing upon kin the title of Garou or for mourning the death of a pack member, but also for retelling of past exploits, or to chastise another within the confines of the rite, thus avoiding violent death in reprisal. Yeah, because if you're just like, you fucked this up, that's the paddling. Yeah, it might result in a deadly battle if the proper formalities are not observed. Again, Spencer.
Yes.
Right, very important for your character.
Yeah.
With their high etiquette. Your etiquette will be very important, most likely, in interacting with other Garou.
Which I chose Rite of Dedication. Which spiritually attunes clothing to us. So that when we take form. Yeah, it doesn't rip apart. I always look
I
good.
forgot about that. Your stuff doesn't change. So if you go into Krynos, when you're not ready to go into Krynos, you are naked when you come back to a human.
Unless you do the Rite of Dedication, which I chose.
Does that affect other people?
Multiple people in the pack?
Yeah, I can perform it in other people. Mm-hmm.
Not letting you do that to me.
No,
you want to be naked afterwards.
No, I bought special Hulk pants.
Are you just running around like a loincloth with like an elastic band the whole time?
It's just a really stretchy trench coat.
Really stretchy trench coat. Other than that, you're kind of naked under the trench coat. All right. I love your Irwin character. Hilarious.
I did have a question.
Sorry, Spencer, you go.
Are you sure? You can go next, Sam.
No, you had a question and you're already talking about rights.
So other than the normal rights, there are social rights, which are on page 187.
187.
And my question for you, Justin, because I didn't see, are they considered different from common rights? Like, is it part of the choose a single right or the social rights? Because it says, for every right with a mystical component, Garou society has a dozen social ones that, though lacking mechanical effects, bond the packs of tattered Garou nation together in health as well as hardship. And it gives example of it gives 5 of the prominent ones. Are those ones we just kind of innately know, or since it's a social thing?
You said 185 is the page that you're on?
187.
I think so, just because they don't have any like mechanical benefit.
That's what it seemed like to me. Because if I wasn't doing the Rite of Dedication, I'd be probably doing the satire right. But
I think that's just something you can do, just like some tradition. Like there's no mechanical benefit or anything. There's no like dice to roll or stuff that happens as a result.
Yeah, I'm gonna say everything in the social rights, all of you can do it at any time as long as you take the time to do so and have all of the necessary prerequisites for whatever. Let's see. Okay. Heart Warden right, Master leads the sept in telling of tales both raucous and heroic about fallen Garou, where the most renowned Garou in the sept in the Hoya Forest lead a solemn rite in which performers and the fallen one's packmates stand on top of the slope, sails to the wind, and howl out their pride and grief. Yeah, there's nothing that would prevent you from doing that. I don't think. I don't have any. In fact, we may do the rite of passage at the beginning of next time.
Oh, exciting!
Yeah, that may be how we're starting and how your pack is formed.
I am split between two rights. I wanted to get everybody else's feedback on it because I can do it for everyone. So basically, do you guys, before we go into battle, want to get pumped up and get more rage? Or do you guys want to be able to go into the Umbra?
I vote Umbra because that's what my character would want, but
Yeah, I mean, this kind of goes into a different type of session zero discussion where it goes into like what the campaign and like what story will actually be playing out is.
Yeah.
We're playing a short little introductory adventure that probably doesn't give the opportunity to do Umbra stuff, I'm guessing. Like it's just not in there because that's like a whole thing unto itself.
What's your input, Justin?
Let me.
Does Dalton have a good grasp on what an intro?
what the intro
well,
will entail.
So we'll.
Because we're definitely going to have some sort of conflict, I would imagine. So I can always pump up the rage, but.
Hold on one second. Let me. I'm going. I'm in.
Pump up the jam. Pump it up.
I picked the shame one.
See, you want to shame. Oh, that makes sense of your character.
Yeah.
Because you like go and hunt down people, so you're like, shame.
Yeah.
Shame.
Like, how dare you?
Oh, I love
I love that.
I love this.
I thought about taking shame, but then I saw Rite of the Forgetful Record, and it was like, all right, that just fits too well with my flavor type.
Yeah, that one's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's
Ooh,
Like,
perfect.
it's great.
You will go into the Umbra.
Great.
In Act 1, you will go into the Umbra.
Shadow Passage, then. And I'll just get myself pumped up every time I howl at the moon.
And if that's not the case, I'll make sure that I'm reading all of this correctly and understanding what we're going to be doing in each act. And if we're only going to be in the Umbra for just a little bit,
Change it.
I'll say, hey, yeah, actually, go pick the other one.
Cool.
I think if we all have our gifts and rights, what's next?
We just got one last thing.
Yes, and right. One last thing. Oh, yes.
touchstones.
Touchstones. Page 108.
Yes.
Beep, boop, boop.
1 to 3.
So, mm-hmm.
So if I'm reading it right, it's so like touchstones are kind of like Garu's connection to like the physical world, usually but with like a person. Oh, it's their connection to humankind, it sounds like.
Yeah. In the system, touchstones can travel and take actions and be threatened. Maintaining touchstones is important. So this might be somebody who you're related to outside of your tribe, but you're a werewolf now. That's valuable information to certain people or beings, I should say. What's your touchstones?
At risk.
At risk. So here's some examples of touchstones. Tony's character has a child with a mother who didn't want any part of the increasing anger she saw building in her lover. Tony's character knows the relationship with the mother is beyond repair, but the child needs a world to grow up in, and Tony's character intends to give them that future. Kendra and her friend from college took very different paths after graduation. They remained close contact with each other. but it's complicated because Kendra has grave misgivings about her friend's career and in pharmaceuticals and the for-profit healthcare business. So it's just things that connect you to the human world. Well, it may come from, and in your case, Ashley, it may be a litter sibling or your first pack leader.
I have my touchstones already,
Excellent.
so I can tell you about them while everybody
Tell me about them.
figuring them
I also have mine after you're done, Ash, but I'm excited to hear yours.
Hit us up, and then we'll go to you, Spencer.
I have one wolf touchstone and one human touchstone. My wolf touchstone was the I have had one litter of pups as a wolf, and the runt of the litter, who we call Little Paw, is that first touchstone, because I had to specially take care of him to get him to survive, and he's doing great now. He's like a young adult. He doesn't need me anymore, but I'm still very attached and very sad that I can't interact with him the way I used to because my whole pack is scared of me now. And my second touchstone is Agatha. She's this 87-year-old widow, and that first night that I turned up on her doorstep, and she housed me and took care of me, even though I was naked, cold, confused, and covered in blood, no questions asked. And so she was kind of like my first. And
just some random woman in the woods, you were a wolf, you went crazy, now you're a human. You're like, I don't know what's happening. And she's like, oh, that's okay, dearie. Come on in. I'll get you some.
Let's get you a shower and.
Oh my
God. True.
Okay.
Here's some chicken noodle soup, dear.
Yeah,
It's fine.
exactly. Okay, so that was you get those two. Are we supposed to have three? Did you say you're supposed to have three?
You can have 1 to 3, and I was
three.
going to have
Three.
those 2 and leave it there.
Excellent. Okay. Since we've heard from Ashley, I love both those, by the way. Those are great. Mechanically speaking, Garou can lower their rage by 1 by spending a scene or some sort of period. Having a cup of chicken noodle soup will lower your rage with that. Or likewise, you may heal a point of aggravated damage. Or aggravated willpower damage. I guess to make that different, Jason. And this is a benefit in addition to the standard willpower recovery. Or if you spend some downtime, you can stave off the effects of Hirano or Hauglosk by removing one of those. I don't know if we've talked about Hirano or Hauglosk.
We have not.
I don't think so.
Well, then let's do that now. Hirano and Hauglosk are shortcomings in being a Garou. Things that make you closer to the worm. Hirano is
basically depression.
Yeah, it's likewise how rage is an extreme anger or passion. Passion, I think, is probably a better word. Hirano is similar to depression. You will hear among the circles that the ultimate victims of Hirano were the stargazers, who fell so far as to remove themselves from not just Garou society, but Gaia herself, and retreat entirely into the umbral plane. Hauglosk is similar, but it's more like corruption. You lose touch with Gaia. becoming more and more of a frenzied animal. Both are bad.
Do we start with no points in either of those, or is there like a base?
I think you start with no points in either. I'm going to double check. I didn't go into super deep detail with Harano and Halgrosk.
I don't think we start with anything in them.
I don't see why you would. If that makes sense. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know why you'd be depressed at the beginning. You're just angry?
Because you're setting up the game like that.
What's up with the Chronicle? And the Chronicle.
A Chronicle is multiple. So, time. Oh yes, we haven't really talked about how time works as players for this game. Time does not work necessarily entirely similar, or even really kind of chronologically in Werewolf. You have actions, which of course work very similar to D&D. You know, it's kind of like a thing you want to do. Actions can take different amounts of time, though. It's not, you know, the strict 6 seconds. So if we were in a setting where you were trying to buy a drink for somebody that you were trying to get set up, or trying to, if you were going to do that, the action would be buying the drink, and then the next action would be using that goodwill to try and get information out of them. But we may have things that happen during that action. Things may interrupt that drink buying, et cetera, et cetera. Yes, Hoglost is a state of werewolf fervor or fanaticism in which they believe they must take urgent, immediate action. So it's like a little mini frenzy. Yes. We are going a little on. Thanks for staying with us, viewers, as we unpack everything that this book has to offer us.
What I can do is I can just do like a general character summary and then go over my touchstones if we want to do that. I wasn't sure if we were just going to do character summaries at the end, but
I was pretty late already. Like we were supposed to end 10 minutes ago.
Yeah. Okay. So let's do this. I
think we all have a little bit more thinking about our character. Yeah. There might be a couple of bits. If I might make a suggestion, I think at session 1 next week when we come back, maybe we can spend about 5-10 minutes, like total, everyone real quick, just reintroduce their characters, you know, and maybe talk about some of the changes they might have made, you know, or if they did change anything from today, and just give a quick recap of what they picked, and we just try to knock that out as quickly as possible.
Perfect. That being said, I want to talk about one last thing, or maybe we could do this if we want to do that in next session, where we can establish our tenants. Now, your actions will all have consequences, obviously. What those are may be varied, will be varied, not may, will be varied. Now, the Chronicle tenets form the foundation of how we tell the story, what story we're going to tell. Statements expressing the values that your group has and things that you would like to do. Genre emulation, maybe something like that. So for example, there are consequences to not following your tenets. So for example, if you were going to have an environmentalist tenet structure, they would read, never cause harm to Gaia, do not hoard resources, and never put short-term gains ahead of long-term goals. So we can maybe think about that and address this quickly in second one. Yes, I think we'd like to do that.
Sounds like a good plan to me.
Sure. Yeah.
So let's do that. Attributions, right? Thanks to Renegade Games for picking up the mantle of a what I feel is a classic RPG. And thank you to them for their free resources regarding the new and expanded adventure module that accompanies the one in the back of the book, as well as all of the supplemental materials like the digital character sheets and character builder sheets. We need to thank. We haven't used any art. We haven't done anything else.
We did use their art. So if you notice, there's actually Werewolf the Apocalypse has Renegade, I believe, has just uploaded like art packs that they used for their books. And they allow other content creators to use that art and stuff as long as they put the little Dark Pact logo, which you'll see. Am I pointing in the right direction? Let's see here.
Yes.
Down that corner. You can use that as long as you put the Dark Pact logo on there. You are good to go. So thank you for letting us use the official Werewolf the Apocalypse art for this, or this might have been Vampire. It's a cemetery, so thank you.
Alrighty. And of course, we will be, in addition to these themes of mature, these mature themes, in subsequent uploads, we will be posting some resources for some phone numbers in case any of our viewers feel like they need to talk to somebody or having a crisis themselves. Yes.
Yeah.
Despite the dark nature of this game, you do matter. And we hope everyone is treating themselves with love and kindness.
Absolutely.
If you do need it, the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline is just 988. Number
There we go.
988. It's open 24/7, languages English and Spanish. Specifically for people in the US, I believe, but don't quote me on that. You're welcome to try it if you need it.
All right. On a happier note, thanks for tuning in.
Yeah.
While we unpack this very big book with lots of rules and kind of unique systems. Like, subscribe.
Yeah.
Throw money at us. Whatever you want to do.
I don't have to wait for them to give us money.
We'll make one.
We'll set up a PO box. You can send in a box of cash.
Yeah.
Like a little glitter bomb thing and just explode dollar bills everywhere.
Yep.
I would love that.
We'd all love that.
I want to say two things real quick. To call back to that Brooklyn Nine-Nine being in World of Darkness, I would just say that Detective Rosa Diaz would definitely be a werewolf. She seems like she's a girl who struggles with controlling her rage all the time. But on top of that, quick note, there was a legal controversy with Underworld. White Wolf Incorporated and Nancy A. Collins did sue them for claiming the setting was too similar to Vampire the Masquerade and Werewolf the Apocalypse and her book series. And they ended up settling in a confidential settlement.
But those are the facts, and this is how I'm going to say that.
80 points of unique similarity between White Wolf's gaming systems in the film. One of those points being that the vampires in the underworld drink blood.
That doesn't. That's not it.
Well, that one is the one I have to
Vampires do.
That is the one I have the. I'm a psychic vampire. Actually, with the invention of the internet, feeding's been easier than ever. You just say something terrible online and just let people go at it for hours. By the way, if you haven't seen What We Do in the Shadows, it's hilarious. Everybody on that show is incredibly talented. Go and show them some love. They're great. Great show.
Well, I'm excited.
Well, thank you guys all for tuning in. Please like, subscribe, and follow if you liked our content and want more of it.
Good.
Thank you, and we will be back next Sunday at 3 p.m. Eastern.
3 p.m. Eastern. Doing it up.